Scott Goodyear, you've been there.
And Marty, this is the day the Speedway becomes alive. You know, for 2 weeks as a driver, we're here testing and qualifying amongst the dark gray grandstands. Well, today you walk out, there's color, warmth, and movement, and you feel that energy from the fans. But most importantly, you have to be calm, cool, and collected when you climb inside that cockpit, because you're going to race down to turn 1 at 200 miles an hour.
Calm, cool, and collected. Eddie, what were you thinking about when you came to the stripe?
I just had one thing in my mind: make it through that first corner. Focus. You have to go on automatic, but you have to be ready for anything that can happen in front of you.
As the cars begin the pace laps, we'll show you our GoDaddy starting grid across the top of the screen, and we'll talk more about the first row, especially that man in the middle, Carlos Munoz, in just a matter of moments. Right now we want to talk about the chance of a lifetime. You could start an IndyCar Series race in the Honda Izod 2-seater, driven by none other than Mario Andretti. Enter for a chance to win at shophonda.com. Today, Mario is starting the 500 with Corporal Barry Walton, an active Marine with the Wounded Warriors. Barry grew up in Indy, just living a few minutes from the track, and he is enjoying the ride. Congratulations, Barry. All right, one of Mario's biggest rivals was A.J. Foyt. He's back again, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Marty, 33 days ago, four-time Indy 500 winner A.J. Foyt was laying on an operating room table in Houston, Texas, undergoing surgery just to have the strength to be here. But, folks, he is here today to support his points-leading Japanese-born driver, Takuma Sato. Now, some say this is the IndyCar odd couple, a race car driver from the Far East and a car owner from the Wild West. But it works, and as A.J. puts it, Sato may not be a Texan, but he sure drives like one, aggressive on every single lap. Here's Jamie Little.
Well, Helio Castroneves hopes to join that elite group of four-time winners today, but he told me it's harder now than ever before because the competition is that tight. If Helio wins this race today, he'll climb the fence, drink the milk, and would become the youngest four-time winner ever at the Indy 500. Marty Reed?
Thank you, Jamie. And pacing the field right there, they'll be leading us to green, the all-new 2014 Chevy Corvette Stingray. With technology that's been developed and perfected on tracks around the world, it's a fitting assignment for the new Stingray to lead this field as pace car for the Indianapolis 500. And the man driving the pace car is none other than San Francisco 49ers head coach, Jim Harbaugh. All right, let's take a look now at our GoDaddy what to watch for. And we mentioned we were going to talk a little bit more, Scott, about row number 1.
Well, Ed Carpenter, the local hometown hero, certainly has a great opportunity today. And Carlos Munoz, who's in the middle of the front row, a rookie, very fast. People are maybe concerned whether or not he'll be able to complete this race. People are going to be cautious being around him. Marco Andretti, probably the fan favorite right now for going off and winning this event. His grandfather did it in 1969.
And you want to focus on row number 6.
Row number 6 is a photocopy of what happened at the end of last year. We have Scott Dixon, Dario Franchitti, and Takuma Sato almost picking up their battle from where they left it off last year. This is a row to watch.
A total of 12 onboard cameras for you. Let's start it off with Dario Franchitti. He'll be having the target on board, looking for, of course, victory number 4. Charlie Kimball is in the Novo Nordisk on board. Third 500 start. He finished 8th last year. And Graham Rahal is in the Honda on board, 3rd in 2011, but he starts 26th today.
All right, Grammy, let's have a great day today. Have fun out there, and we'll give you the green when the time comes.
Tristan Vautier, a 25-year-old rookie from France, is aboard the Lucas Oil Honda machine. J.R. Hildebrand, 25, from Sausalito, California, is driving the National Guard car powered by Chevrolet, and his teammate, Justin Townsend Bell, is driving the Sunoco car, and this will be his 7th Indianapolis 500 start.
Will Power with the Verizon onboard camera is looking to improve his best 5th place finish. Helio Castroneves with our 2nd Verizon inboard camera is hunting down his 4th Indy 500. Ryan Hunter-Reay with the Firestone onboard camera, last year's IndyCar champion, has yet to lead a lap at Indy.
And James Hinchcliffe has the GoDaddy on board, finished 5th last year. He'll start 9th today.
James, just double check on your controls. You're at 5 on the front bar and 50% on the weight tracker. I think that's a good place to start the race.
Marco Andretti on the outside of row 1, the United Fiber and Data on board. He will start 3rd. He thinks he has his best chance ever to win the race. And our pole sitter with the Chevy on board, Ed Carpenter, hates the David versus Goliath comparison, and with good reason. Dan Weldon led a one-car team to victory in 2011. For live streaming of all 12 onboard cameras, go to watchespn.com or the Watch ESPN app. Now, our broadcast is also available in Spanish. All you have to do is activate your SAP button. It's presented by ESPN Deportes. All right, as you can tell, it is overcast here today, and we also want to talk about the temperature, because notice it's 59 degrees. Back in 1992, Scott, you were involved in a very cold race.
Well, I know that weather conditions very well, and I actually spoke to Helio Castroneves this morning. He says, I think these cars are going to handle the weather and the track conditions fine. He's not worried about the grip. Firestone tires are excellent. But the interesting thing we find with cooler weather, the teams that maybe weren't running so strongly have an advantage because it equals out the car. So we'll have to watch that today.
But I think this temperature is going to equalize the whole field. It'll bring the cars that have not been there up to speed, and you'll see more people participating for a win than you would have done if it was a hot track.
Realize just one thing. No other race cars in the world are asked to go this fast for this distance, 500 miles. Buckle up, enjoy the sights and sounds of the Indianapolis 500. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to write another page of history. For the 97th time, the Indianapolis 500 is green. As they head into turn number 3, Ed Carpenter has taken the early lead. Marco Andretti has gotten around Carlos Munoz to take over second.
Marty, we just got through one of the most difficult times of a race, starting at this track 3 wide going into turn 1. When you haven't been in the car for a couple of days, we already see a lot of movement happening back in the field.
That was Ryan Hunter-Reay side by side with James Hinchcliffe as they head through turn 1.
We're still in that section of the race where nobody has even started to get their rhythm. They're still trying to find the place where their car will bring them, because they're not quite sure how their car runs, because this is a colder day. So everybody is still feeling out their car and the track.
Side by side through the corner there.
Tony Kanaan trying to get underneath Helio Castroneves.
Helio closed the door, holding on to the position. You know, going back to the start, Carlos Munoz, a 21-year-old rookie, youngest ever on the front row, he did a good job.
He did a good job, but he had his first lesson. His teammate passed him on the first back straight.
Well, you said it was going to be a learning experience.
And it will be, all the way through to the first pit stop. And he did incredibly well in qualifying, running faster than all of his teammates. But qualifying is one thing, and a race is another. What you have to do at this point of the race is find your rhythm, because you have a long way to go.
Well, and one of the other things you'll notice is Munoz takes a totally different line through these corners than most of the other drivers.
He does, and I think that's going to upset the cars that are around him, because everybody is used to running in a pattern, and he, for some reason, has a different pattern, which looks risky, but has been very efficient for him.
Coming down the front straightaway. A little bit further back there, you saw a couple of cars taking a peek, but nobody could make the pass at this stage. Whoa, a leg wiggle there, look out, spin, going into the wall. J.R. Hildebrand has hit the wall in turns between 1 and 2, and there you can see where he stopped.
Very unfortunate. He never really got a chance to even get going.
2 years ago, he was 1 turn away from winning the race when he hit the wall.
And the first words he said were, Scott?
Sorry.
Just went loose.
Loose meaning the back end of the car wants to come around for you. And Eddie, as you know, it is very difficult to be able to drive a car that is loose in traffic.
It's impossible. A car that is loose, he actually had the problem going into the corner, and I think, yes, the car in front of him took his downforce away, and all of a sudden the car just changed balance.
Well, in that case, the question is, honestly, Eddie, is the car that you're driving have enough downforce on it? You see, he's also just outside of the groove just a little bit, that maybe the back end got just a little bit loose on him and the back end started to come around.
Let's ride on board and listen.
Inside, clear.
Hildebrand, driver for the National Guard, and we have troops over in Afghanistan that are watching. Watch their reaction. That's the Indiana National Guard, and they're disappointed, of course, because that was the car they were rooting for. Back here at Indianapolis, Charlie Kimball has started 19th but fallen back in the field, and a report from Vince Welch, he has an electrical issue. He came back in and will go back out on the track now as Ed Carpenter, under our first caution, leads Marco Andretti, E.J. Viso, Carlos Munoz. Then Will Power is 5th and Helio Castroneves is 6th. We're getting ready for our first restart. We'll just let you sit back and watch. Here we go. That marker right there is the go zone.
Go, go, go.
Green flag out.
I don't think he's going to hold it.
As they say, the leader's always a sitting duck. Will he try and go low?
No, he's got a defensive line, and he's going to hold on to it at least through one.
He had a very slow upshift, didn't he, on that restart?
Really used a low RPM shifting, as you mentioned, but this is the opportunity for great passing right now, as you see a lot too wide going through turns 1 and 2 at this speed. As we always talk about, Eddie, it's a great opportunity for cars to get past. You see the yellow car on the bottom right now, Ryan Hunter-Ray, trying to get past Justin Wilson on the right-hand side, which it looked like he did. The car up in front, the number 12 Verizon Penske machine of Will Power. And this is now to start to stretch themselves out just a little bit.
I want to pick up on what you said before, that he's a little bit too polite. This is not a place where I think you want to bring your good manners and you're polite. You want to be respectful and judicious in where you put your car, but polite takes too long.
Well, and J.R. Hildebrand probably was too light. Yeah.
Guys, I've got to jump in there. Look at Tony Kanaan as he has got a race car underneath him, and he is putting pressure. He wants the race lead.
Oh, and Ed's really pushing the envelope right there, trying to run him down towards the bottom line. Now you can go ahead and start moving down towards there. Have to leave a lane on the inside to be able to make sure the driver can get past, and he certainly did that. And Vince Welch, you have more?
Tony Kanaan very happy with his race car as you see him making the move, and he says he has never been here and not had a good car. He said he feels like he knows what he needs through his experience here, and that's a car that tends to lean on the free side. He said it's felt perfect through practice, and he expected that to be the case today, and he has loved it so far.
We're getting a great example of drafting here. It's almost impossible to lead the whole group and disappear with these new cars. When you're in front, you're punching such a big hole. A big hole in the air that the other cars just gain. It's like they have 20 extra horsepower.
On board with Marco Andretti.
You can hear him throttle back just as we start to get into the turn. Eddie, you and I talked about this all week. Drivers that are smart are going to try to save fuel and let the cars in front punch the big hole in the air, as you talked about before. But right now, Ed Carpenter certainly loves leading the Indianapolis 500, but he's using more fuel than the other cars.
We learned that over a full 22 laps that you would have with full tanks, if you are leading, you will use almost 3 laps more fuel than if you're behind.
And so I'm up to about 28 or 29 laps for a full tank of fuel in most cases, so you might see that 30 or 31.
Well, the guy who learned that lesson the hard way last year is running third right now, Marco Andretti. He led the most laps. He's taken over second there from Tony Kanaan, but he led 59 laps last year, but he said it killed me on fuel consumption.
It did, and Franchitti took advantage of it in the end.
Speaking of Dario Franchitti, he is now running back in 11th. Helio Castroneves in 6th. Those are the two going for number 4. There is Dario. As right behind him is James Hinchcliffe. Now, Hinchcliffe is going in the wrong direction. Let's go see if we can see what happened.
On board, a lot of movement out of the steering wheel. Look at him feed the steering wheel in, going up towards the wall.
Whoa.
You do not want to do that too many times.
And while we're in that, Marco Andretti takes the race lead. So Ed Carpenter has led, Tony Kanaan has led, and if Marco leads at the stripe, we'll have our 3rd different leader.
And Marco did say, I would like to lead a little bit, see how my car is running by itself, but I don't mind falling back in line and just letting the car run in front, punch the hole in the air for me, and just consume a little less fuel.
The exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen is happening. Carlos Munoz, who is a rookie who I thought would be charging to go to the front, is actually the one that's saving the most fuel and just staying back there in 4th place while these guys keep swapping the lead.
And there goes Tony Kanaan back out front.
Now, when the car goes in front of you, just like these changes are happening going in onto turn 1, the car in front takes a little bit of air away from your car. The car feels lighter. Your steering wheel turns a little easier. We call that a little bit of understeer, and you hope that the car in front doesn't take too much air away and cause too much of a problem for you.
Our 3rd lead change. If you remember last year, we had a record 34. And yes, there's a lot of people that think we will surpass that mark today. Vince, what have you got on Carlos Munoz? He's running 5th.
The key for Munoz today, guys, as they talked to him before the race, this is his first ever IndyCar Series race, and they preached patience to him. They said, so much is going to be going on around you that you've never experienced before. Settle in. Don't be afraid to just sit back in 3rd or 4th and get a feel for the race, get a feel for the traffic and the way the race car feels. Don't believe you've got to charge to the front. It's got to be a patient approach. And John Tuanukas, who handles the strategy for Carlos Munoz, said that's all we preach to him. Patience, patience, patience. He's showing some of it early.
He's showing a lot of patience, but he has a 3-time winner, Castroneves, on his tail. This is going to be another lesson.
Here we go for another change for the lead. It is Marco Andretti, and he is officially the leader at the stripe, so make that lead change number 4. Kanaan is now 2nd, Carpenter 3rd, E.J. Vizo running in the 4th spot. Munoz rounds out your top 5. Another car that's sort of sneaking up on him. You just saw a glimpse of him on the right side of the screen farther back. Ryan Hunter-Reay, he's gotten around Alex Tagliani. So now Chevrolet is running 1 through 7. We've got to step aside, but you won't miss a thing here at Indianapolis as we go side by side. There's your top 5 in our telecast presented by GoDaddy. Back here at the Indianapolis 500, you saw in side-by-side the swap going twice between that man, Tony Kanaan, and here comes Marco Andretti wanting to lead again. And he takes the lead down into turn number 1.
Marty, what this is telling me is that all these drivers are very comfortable with the car, but wind also plays a big factor here because the speed that we're going, you think about it's the speed of a small jet really going down the straightaway, about 230 miles an hour going into the turns. You have a headwind going into turn 1, and it makes the car more comfortable to drive when you have that headwind going into the turn. We might see a lot more passing in turn 1 here today than we will in 3.
Well, the IndyCar Series is right back to work. This time it'll be on a road course, and that is next weekend at the Belle Isle Grand Prix. It is the Indy Duel in Detroit. Now, it's 2 races, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Both of them are on ABC at 3:30 Eastern both days. See you then.
As we watch this lead cars all go through the turn, the 4th car in line, Carlos Munoz that we talked about, the rookie. Watch how low his line is going in through the turns. He turns in a little quicker, goes to his left side, down by the white line. A lot of veterans around here think that's very dangerous.
Well, Jerry has caught up with a very disappointed J.R. Hildebrand. Doc?
Yeah, Marty's been checked out at the medical center. He's okay. JR, we saw the car just snap around. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was going by Hinch. I think maybe he got stuck in the hard limiter or something down the straightaway, so I went by him on the outside, and, you know, it was maybe just a little offline on the entry, but it was basically where the cars have been working fine at that point, and just got a little loose in the middle of the corner, and then it's sort of caught it, and then it snapped and just went around. So yeah, I mean, obviously just incredibly disappointed. I think we had a car to run up front, with a couple of runs of dialing things in here. We had been pretty aggressive with the downforce level and all that kind of stuff, but I even now looking at the race, I don't think it was too light. It was just kind of one of those things.
Tough start for J.R. Hildebrand. Marty?
Well, and he had turned the fastest race lap at that moment at over 221, but now we're up over 224. Townsend Bell and Catherine Legg have both clocked over 224 miles an hour. Tony Kanaan is your race leader. Then it's Andretti, Carpenter, Carlos Munoz, the rookie, E.J. Vizo, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and there, as you see, Helio Castroneves on the right side of your screen as he is going to go around E.J. Vizo. So Castroneves, oh, I'm sorry, that is Ryan Hunter-Reay. So the yellow cars got me there. There is Helio Castroneves. He is the fourth car on the screen there. Another battle for the lead. Marco Andretti takes the top spot again. That's our 8th lead change between 3 drivers.
And with pit stops coming up, Marty, the guy that has not experienced a pit stop so far in this lead group, the rookie, Carlos Munoz, will be interested to see if he come from over 215, 20 miles an hour down to the pit speed limit of 60, going down pit lane, get into his pit box correctly, and then have a great pit stop and exit. You know how difficult that is, Eddie.
It is difficult under green, especially the first time you do it. He would be very lucky if his first pit stop happened under a yellow, because everything is a lot more controlled.
Ryan Hunter-Reay had to breathe.
You have to be very tricky when you breathe like that, because if you get off sequence with the speed of the other cars, you will lose about 100 yards, 150 yards, and you will get past exiting turn 2 or turn 4. So you almost, if you're going to be passed by somebody, you have to almost allow them to pass you in the right spot so you can accelerate around the whole corner.
And you talked about getting off the throttle. He just didn't time it correctly for that time. Almost had a run going into the 3.
Getting word that A.J. Allmendinger has an issue with his number 2 Penske machine. He is dropping back. He is now running in 19th. What's happening, Jamie?
Well, Marty, he's been on the radio. This is his first Indy 500. He's been talking to Roger Penske, who's calling the race for him. This is what he's feeling.
Passing you want with the in the Rebel. Is there a different map I can go to? I mean, we're just stay cool here. We'll figure it out. Stay cool. You're doing fine. 220 that lap again.
So what that means is they have the wrong top gearing. They didn't guess the right speed, maybe with a different air temperature, Scott, and now they are under geared. What that means is the engine cuts itself off in the last few hundred yards of the straightaway, and it really affects your time.
And he would be in top gears. There's 6 speeds in these cars, so they are already running in 6th gear. You usually use that as a passing gear, and when you're running in traffic to maybe save fuel. But as you mentioned, they're probably 250 or 300 RPMs off.
This is fun watching this happening up front between Marco Andretti and Tony Kanaan as they keep swapping the lead back and forth.
Don't forget Carpenter. He's right up there. The boy is right in there.
I think Ed's just trying to save some fuel, don't you?
I don't understand why Marco Andretti and Tony Kanaan are trying to lead instead of letting somebody else do it. But maybe they're just trying to feel their car out for the first pit stop.
Eddie, we're race car drivers. Whenever you get a chance to lead a race, that's what you want to do.
Last time I looked, there's no prize money for leading lap 28.
I know it, but the faster you go, the more alive you feel, and especially when you're leading a race. So right now, Tony Kanaan says, you know what, I'll get back and do that again.
Here we are working lap number 29. Let's take a look at our GoDaddy lap leaders already. Ed Carpenter, Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti, a total of 9 lead changes.
And they're almost driving as if they're teammates. Why don't you go ahead a lap? No, I'll go ahead. No, it's your turn.
Another guy that seems to be just lurking back there, just saving fuel. And here we go. Our first car is going to peel off. So the leader, Tony Kanaan, breaks off, and he'll be our first green flag pit stop here at Indy on lap 29. Vince?
No issues for Tony Kanaan at all so far today. He's been very happy with the race car. they conserved fuel when they were talking about Kanaan running up ahead of the group in 5th gear, and he indicated, I'm going to conserve some fuel. It's going to be a 4-tire change, as they always are, the IndyCar series. Fill him up full of fuel, and a little delay on the right rear, but otherwise no changes for Kanaan.
That was a very smooth first stop. That makes such a difference to the team when that happens. If you have a bad first stop, they tend to keep multiplying.
More cars peeling off this time. There's Marco Andretti on the right side of your screen, followed by the Fuzzies. Dallara on board as we send it to Jamie Little.
Marco Andretti brought a brand new race car here, and he has loved it. Has barely said 2 words on the radio as he swapped leads so far early in this race. They're saying front wing change just to help that balance a little bit, but otherwise happy. They'll fill him up with Sunoco fuel as he pulls right into his pit box. Qualified 3rd for this race. And it's a good stop, a little bit slow there at the end. Meanwhile, your pole sitter Ed Carpenter was conserving fuel. It was a good stop for him. Down and away, Marco Andretti just edging the 20 of Ed Carpenter, Marty.
So both those cars back out on track as we're working lap number 31 of 200. There's Carlos Munoz on the left side of your screen, and Ryan Hunter-Reay, the series champion, heading towards his pit box. So let's send it to Vince Welch.
Ryan indicated they were having a little bit of an oil pressure issue early in the run, but that doesn't seem to have lingered, so that's good news for the one car. The defending series champion Hunter-Reay won at Barber earlier this season. No changes in the handling of the race car. Clean stop, fueled and away in 10.2.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay did lead a lap before coming in, as did Will Power. In fact, Power's still out there.
That's the first time he's led a lap at Indy.
See them coming back out onto the warm-up lane as we're looking for the race leader, and there he is, Will Power in the number 12. Now, he has gone 32 laps so far.
So, Scott, Tony Kanaan came in after lap 29.
Let's send it to Jamie. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Elio is in the pits.
Yes, and the Penske's continue filing through. Elio Castroneves been pretty happy with his car. Front wing adjustment was the call. Sunoco fuel, they made sure they got it filled up, put those sticker tires on.
And the word of the target cars also making their stop. And here comes Will Power, so he will peel off and surrender the race lead. Let's send it again to Jamie Little.
Will Power makes it all the way down pit road, that long drive, 60 miles per hour down to the number 1 pit box. Will Power not saying a whole lot as you see him tear off. That tear off, they're getting all kinds of debris early in this race. He pulls into his box. He's had problems here in past Indy 500s. Everybody counting down, taking their time, making sure they're efficient. 4 tires, they filled them up. And that's a clean stop. 8.7 seconds for Will Power.
That's one of the better stops that we've seen on the clock. And that means that James Jakes, who has stayed out, remember, now he stopped during the first caution period when J.R. Hildebrand crashed. So it's been 29 laps that he has been on track right now. So he becomes our 6th different leader, and we're already up to 13 lead changes.
And we've only just started.
Jakes is the 2nd car in your screen, as he has taken a look around Buddy Lazier, and he makes the pass cleanly. Let's again go to Vince in the pits.
Charlie Kimball is in. We told you earlier he has an electrical issue in the car. They diagnosed that. Now they're going to change the tires and add fuel, but it's been a tough race already for Charlie Kimball. The car seems to be hiccuping, almost backfiring, and that's been a problem for them from the get-go.
11.7 seconds, and we've got a caution on the track. And Sebastian Saavedra has bent the right front corner of his number 6. So our 2nd caution comes out here as we are working lap number 36. And he is just crossing the yard of bricks. So he's got a long way to go to get around. Or could pull off right down here at the pit out area.
This is a very rare thing that you see a car with a bent suspension in Indy, because normally when we have a problem in Indy, it's half the bodywork is missing.
And as we go back, he's already up against the wall.
Yeah, he got away lightly. Normally when you hit the wall, it's a lot worse than that.
Jerry, you've got more?
Saavedra just cued the radio and said someone should get a big penalty. Someone should get a big penalty. Very angry about someone getting in his way. And the result there, damaged race car, and now he has to climb out.
So let's take another look at it, Scott. So there's Saavedra on the far right. Ooh. Yeah, he got chopped.
Oh, boy, did he catch that for as little damage as he has, as Eddie said.
Wow. Just trying to see which car that was right in front of him. We'll try and get more detail for it. Right now, a special guest is alongside with Jamie Little.
Yes, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion from 2012 here with Roger Penske, his first ever Indy 500, and you brought your dad and your crew chief. What do you think seeing that start?
Well, it's an early Father's Day gift. You know, Father's Day is coming around the corner. You got to take care of your dad, and you know, racing is with dads. But quite a race, Indy 500. Just glad to be here, and I got one of the best pits to be in. Roger Penske, he's won this race
15 times.
Yeah, more than I can count on my fingers, and just trying to soak it all in. So it's an amazing experience, and hopefully make it back in time for the race tonight. But I'm gonna have fun either way.
You have the desire to be out here and do the double one day?
It's hard to be here as a race car driver and not want to drive, Jamie. So yes.
Great to see you here, Brad. Good luck tonight. 600 miles he'll run tonight, Marty.
And Jamie, while you were talking, James Jakes, Pippa Mann, Di Silvestro, and Ray Hall all made their pit stops. So guess who's in the lead? That man right there, Ed Carpenter. Still under our second caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Race leader is Ed Carpenter, but we've got some video that all of us are scratching our heads about. It happened in turn 3. Was he tuning the radio here or what?
Oh, we'll look at his head and see what he's thinking, but well, he almost spun.
Wow.
He almost spun and then straightened it out in the grass.
But what he's doing is he's trying to keep the tires warm by weaving the car, but that's something you generally don't ever do in the turns. You only do it going down the straightaway.
Talk about a cat having 9 lives. He just burned up one of them right then.
Let's listen to Ed's radio.
Cat, well, I pulled up next to Catherine because she wasn't packing up, and she just keeps slowing down and waved me by.
I think that was probably for something different because he didn't really have anybody around him. That might have been for something a little bit earlier.
Jamie, you've got more?
Well, you guys exactly are right. He said, I was just warming up my tires and didn't pay attention, went through the grass. So he has luck on his side so far.
Actually, the last guy that did that in 1992 on a cold day, just like we're having here today, was the pole sitter. Remember that?
And I was right by him.
Were you?
Yep.
It was very interesting to watch that with Roberto Guerrero.
Marco Andretti running second right now as we have 100 miles in the books so far. Let's listen in.
Kind of dumb that nobody wants to leave. You know, it's supposed to be a race. Yeah, nah, but the way you're playing it, I think, you know, you and TK, and I think Ed will play it that way too. So it's the same way you've been playing, it'll be fine.
That's exactly what we said earlier. Right now, it really isn't in your favor to lead. You want to get up there to see what your car can do, but you really want somebody else to do all the work because then they'll burn all their fuel, Scott.
Most importantly, though, make sure you're trimming your car, understanding what your car needs as this race goes, because as Rick Mears always did, it comes down to a shootout at the end. Communicate with your team and your crew, change the car and pit stop.
And to back this up, the 5 fastest laps have been turned in by people all outside the top 10. So
I don't want anybody to think that this makes it easier. It makes it more complicated because you have fuel strategy in the middle of it. And at a certain point, you are going to have to sprint.
Well, Ed Carpenter lives here in Indianapolis, went to school at Butler University. He is definitely a fan favorite.
I think what's been coolest is, like, I've had a couple people come up to me and be like, you know, man, I wish you could hear what the crowd was like, you know, when your first lap popped up there and things like that. And that's what's cool. Just, it makes you feel good knowing that you've got a town behind you, basically.
Give you an idea just how close he went to school here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He went to high school at Park Tudor. There is the speedway. And on the northeast side there. Oh, nice picture. 1999. Almost has the same haircut today. And then went to Butler University. And of course, now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and leading.
Marty, if they applauded a lot for him in one pole, that's nothing compared to what could happen this afternoon if he wins this race.
There you see 6 laps led in his first 9 500s. He's already got 15 in the books today.
And Marty, it was interesting to note that he came up through the old-fashioned way, going through the dirt tracks and the clay tracks, running midget cars, something that a lot of the other guys have not done.
This was just a little bit earlier. That's Catherine Legg as she wipes the wall. And Jerry, you've got more?
Yeah, Marty, those 224-mile-an-hour laps you were mentioning, she developed an understeer, and that was the result. She banged the wall, came in, they had to replace the right rear toe link. That's supposed to be straight. This is the one that was on the car as she bent on the wall. Spent 7 laps on pit road, so she has put herself back in 32nd position.
Buddy Lazier, a former winner here, back in pit lane. He had taken the wave round, but he is back in. Sebastian Zavedra, Sebastian Bourdais also took the wave around, as did the 18 of Anna Beatrice and the 81 of Catherine Legg.
All these accidents that we've seen are because people are just getting half a lane, Scott, out of where they need to be. So I think everybody's going to be rather careful until they start putting rubber down up high. And if I was driving, I would avoid that high line as much as I can.
Notice Helio Castroneves. He is running in 4th place. You're asking where is Scott Dixon? He is running 13th. And of course, those two looking to become 4-time winners.
And Franchitti 10th. 12th.
Yes, Franchitti's in 12th. Did I say Dixon? I'm sorry. Coming around to take the green flag. They're in the go zone. The flag is up. And we're back to racing.
And Marco timed this correctly, got on the gas, got a good draft from Carpenter's car, and he'll put his RC Cola machine in the front going into turn 1.
So you could look at this as practice for that final restart. So what they're doing is they're trying to accelerate in different spots and see what the result is. I don't think Ed was too troubled that he got past, but he learned that where he started from was not the right procedure.
And so far the trend we are seeing is most of the passes are happening down into turn number 1. One of the cars that is on the move right now is that man right there driving for A.J. Foyt, Takuma Sato. Rick, he has moved into the 9th position.
Yes, and he likes the car. The team was talking to him just a little while ago, saying that he was saying there's a little bit of understeer. They were asking, well, on the next pit stop, you want to make an actual change? He said, no, it really works well in traffic. Maybe I'll just use the tools that I've got inside. Larry Foyt on the radio, talking to him, walking him through this, making it a patient move for Sato, and he's doing well. Moved up 10 places so far, Marty.
All right, thank you, Rick. As you were talking, of course, you saw another lead change. Number 16, Ed Carpenter back out in front. We should also update you. Simona Di Silvestro got a drive-through penalty for running over a hose on pit road.
And as we were talking about Takuma, he started to make that move coming out of 4, and you saw him start to go high when the 2 guys in front went low. He completed that pass. He is now running in 7th.
And Hunter Ray is starting to work his way towards the front.
Sato was the fastest on that last lap, but the Chevys have control of this race right now. They are running in the top 6 positions. Here are the biggest movers so far. You can see it is Takuma Sato. Vautier up 10 spots, Kanaan, Mann, and Bell.
It looks like the safest place to be on the track, Scott, is anywhere between 4th and 7th, doesn't it? They don't seem to be under that much pressure, and the speed is right. Whereas if you go back farther, there's a lot more 2 or 3 abreast. And in the front, they're very nice to each other. Why don't you lead a little bit? No, you lead a little bit.
Yes, but that niceness, as you mentioned, will go away when time comes to the end of the race. Again, we keep seeing the cars go low below the white line with Carlos Munoz, and right now you ride along with Helio.
And they have, for the moment at least, finally strung out in single file. As I say that, a little deeper in the field. We get a pass back there.
Castroneves is having a really good race.
It looks like he's driving that tactical race that we've seen him do before here at Indianapolis.
And they're starting to build their strategy. They're trying to figure out what their fuel consumption is. They're trying to see what their car. And here comes Sato on the inside.
There he is down low. Remember that point last year in the final lap. He didn't make it. This time he did.
He passed him, but he cut right in front of him when he got by him. That is a Formula One move. That really isn't an IndyCar move, is it, Scott?
It isn't, but Carlos Munoz actually had to drag his car down towards the white line, and surprisingly, it stuck. I thought it was going to come out from underneath him. That's something that when somebody does it in front of you, you are just really chills up your spine.
And you don't send him a Christmas card for sure, because they took all the air right off your car in a really critical part of the corner.
You saw the numbers there. We're lapping at 218 miles an hour. And right now, we've had a total of 16 lead changes. Ed Carpenter leads Marco Andretti, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Helio Castroneves, and Tony Kanaan. We go side by side. Our telecast presented by GoDaddy. Carpenter and Carlos Munoz move back into 7th around Takuma Sato. While we've got a moment, the Western Conference Finals continue tomorrow night. Tony Parker and the Spurs look to be the first team to book their spot in the finals. Zach Randolph and the Grizzlies try to fight back from a 3-0 deficit. Coverage begins at 8 with the Kia NBA Countdown. Game 4, Western Conference Finals, Monday on ESPN. You can also watch live on Watch ESPN. I was afraid to take my eyes off the action to read the promo because I might miss another pass. These guys have swapped the lead now 17 times. Andretti in front of Carpenter. And here comes Ed. And Ryan Hunter-Reay may try and follow. Nope, thinks better of it.
An update on Franchitti. He's 18th now.
Yes, Dario Franchitti has slipped back to the 18th position. And you're saying, where's Helio Castroneves? He is running in 4th.
I think he's in the best position of this group. He and Hunter-Reay have not really made a big effort to lead the group.
All right, let's check in on Dario Franchitti. Vince, what is going on with the 10 car?
Well, Dario really liked his car in the first stint. It reported a little bit of understeer, but didn't make any changes during that first stop. Now he says the understeer has become more evident and a little bit more of a problem, especially mid-corner. Doesn't feel like the tires have come in quite yet, though, so he's not concerned, or at least sure how much of a concern it's going to be as this stint rolls on.
We're watching on board. What are you noticing?
His foot is coming out of the throttle, turning into 3. And now it looks good in 4. Let's see what he's like turning into 1, Scott.
Well, we've got a headwind coming into 1, so the car will probably be very responsive. As you know, Eddie, very comfortable. Mid-turn understeer, so he's not confident to keep his foot on the gas because the steering wheel starts to feel light, and he can't keep the car down to left-hand side by the white line. So interesting.
So had he been closer to these cars ahead of him, he would have had even less downforce. So he is in semi-clean air. I don't think he can run like everybody else is right up their gearboxes.
While this was going on a little bit earlier, Pippa Mann is in pit road right now. This is what happened to her. Last car in the frame as she gets up into the gray and she hits the wall.
Is that the 4th or 5th time we've seen that today? Are people just getting a little bit in the gray and they just cannot pull it down?
And it seems to be in turn number 4, and Jerry Punch has caught up with Pippa.
Yeah, she stepped out of the car, Marty. We just saw the contact with the wall, Pippa. What happened?
Well, we've got a crash on track.
Oh, trouble on the racetrack, Marty.
Yes, we do. It is one of A.J. Foyt's cars, the number 14 of Takuma Sato. And he has stalled the car.
And he wants to get going, so he hasn't hit anything, Scott, has he?
We'll get you started.
Wants to get started quickly, so this is a lap.
He wants to get going now.
No.
There is A.J. Foyt. First time he was ever at this track, 1958.
When I think of American Oval Racing, I think of him.
All right, let's go back and take another look.
Well, the back end of the car was already starting to walk around with him on the exit of the turn. So as you know, Eddie, that's the oversteer. The back end's getting light. You cannot control it as a driver, even though you turn opposite lock. Now there again, he's quite a ways away from that white line, as you and I have discussed.
But he almost caught it. It started on very early and it went straight, and then he hooked it down and he did what you're supposed to do. When you spin in an oval, they always tell you you have to bring the car down to the left.
And don't forget, that's at over 200 miles an hour. And he's calm, cool, and collected, looking out the left-hand side to see where he's going. And then he releases his foot off the brake. And we're going to watch here from Will Power's car on the Verizon camera. Look ahead, just a little bit away from the white line, and great move by Will Power.
Will Power's move was not to move, was just to stay in the right place and try instead of trying to avoid it.
Sato is back under Power and tries to pull up to the back of the field.
Stay out this lap, stay out. Let's run around, try to catch them. Go to fuel mix 3. Let's stay out. All the tires are up. Just be careful.
Well, the rest of the field is coming in. All the leaders led by Ed Carpenter and Marco Andretti. And here comes the parade, and Vince Welch, you're up first.
Ryan Hunter-Reay still trying to get a handle on his race car, and they've also been focusing on saving some fuel. Michael Andretti, who handles the strategy for Hunter-Reay, asked if he wanted front wing. He said no. Jamie?
Marco Andretti had given up the lead to save some fuel, but he says the car is good. No changes planned. 4 tires to fill them up with Sunoco fuel. Meanwhile, Ed Carpenter, they're just hanging back. The car has been great in traffic. 4 tire stop and no changes once again for Ed Carpenter.
And the race off pit road, Ryan Hunter-Reay's crew picks up 2 spots. Ed Carpenter's team drops 2. And you see the biggest movers, +3 for Will Power and James Hinchcliffe. So as they make their way back out on the track, one of the people who gets the biggest break here is Simona Di Silvestro. She, after that drive-through penalty, was on the verge of going a lap down. She hangs on to the lead lap. She's shown in 25th right now. Stay with us. Masato spun, but managed to keep it off the wall. And we'll take another look at it one more time.
This spin really reminds me of Danny Sullivan's spin, and when he kept going and won the Indy 500. He didn't do it coming out of 1, but he did coming out of 2.
Of course, his car owner, as we mentioned, the legendary A.J. Foyt, his first time here back in 1958. To give you an idea just how long that is, there was no Daytona 500. There was no Super Bowl, and Dwight Eisenhower was the president of only 48 states. That's a long time.
You sure it wasn't Lincoln?
Oh, AJ's going to hear that. He's going to be coming after you. All right, let's get ready here. It is now Ryan Hunter-Reay, our 6th different leader. We've had 19 lead changes, and we're getting ready to work on lap number 62 as we will hit the stripe. We're going to complete 61 of the 200 laps. Ryan Hunter-Reay, right behind him is Andretti, Carpenter, Kanaan, and Will Power.
He will not be leading, turning into 1.
Marco looks to the inside. You got a glimpse of A.J. Allmendinger. He tried to go low. There is Scott Dixon in the 9 target machine.
On a restart, a great time to make up time to pass cars, but also the most dangerous time.
Allmendinger's car is twitching all over the place, Eddie.
Well, they're all jockeying for position and trying to find clean air, and they keep moving where they're at, so the driver behind doesn't know where to go, and then he has to adjust himself. We were just talking about the high line being a bad line. Well, guess who took it and passed on the restart on the outside?
Tony Kanaan. I saw that. And you saw Ed Carpenter get underneath Tony going into turn 1, and there's a lot of passing going on here further back in the pack.
Yeah, that was Graham Rahal in the yellow Midas car. There he is on the left side of your screen as he made a pass. Then there goes Connor Daly in the 41, the rookie, trying to work his way around.
I think he was wise to rethink that one.
All that action is happening from 20th on back. Meanwhile, up front, you've got Ryan Hunter-Reay in front of Marco Andretti and Ed Carpenter. It looks like Carpenter has gotten around Marco. Yes, he has.
What is happening on these restarts, though, we said it earlier, the drivers are giving themselves room so they know they can spread out. But on the final restart, they will go into that rule that we talked about, Scott, where you have one move to make and then you cannot defend it again.
Carpenter making a run, heading down into 3. And it looks like he's going to make it stick.
And now he's burning for fuel.
Every time Ed Carpenter goes into the lead, I look outside our booth window and everybody stands up and claps. The local boy is on a mission right now.
He's proving that his pole position was not a fluke. He has every bit as good a car as he did in qualifying here in the race today. And Castroneves is just sitting there and watching.
That green car in your screen, James Hinchcliffe, won 2 races, and he's going to get passed right now by E.J. Vizo and the inside teammates. They are very polite, Eddie.
You like that word, polite, don't you? I don't think I ever used that once in 35 years of racing.
Coming down the front straightaway, will we see another change in the lead? Ed Carpenter has it. Looks like he will hold on to it this lap. And there you see the number 3 of Helio Castroneves. He is running in 6th. Here's a look from his number 3 Team Penske car with live streaming of in-car cameras on the IndyCar 13 mobile app. That's only from Verizon. Stay on board with him. Check his telemetry.
He's lifting also.
Just a quick little blip.
I would have thought at this point in the run, with tires that are reasonably fresh, they would have been flat the whole way around.
Well, all comes down to downforce, how much grip the car has by the wings, both front and rear, what the teams have decided to run with. And you can rest assured that as the race goes on, they'll take more downforce out of it in pit stops to get ready for the shootout at the end.
We've still got quite a long way to go to the halfway point.
We talked about these new cars, Eddie. These cars, like you mentioned, punch such a big hole in the air that if your car is fast, you cannot run away from the pack. I don't think they're going to see anything like the days we've seen previous where a guy that's fast can go and get a 10-car length lead.
Well, to give you an idea, the top 27 cars are separated by 8 seconds. Go back 100 years ago, Jules Gou from France won this race by over 13 minutes. That shows you how good these cars are, how good the drivers are, and how tight the competition has been. Our camera's trying to zero in on Townsend Bell and the number 60 Sunoco machine. It'll be that bright yellow car at the, well, right there towards the back of the pack. He has moved into the top 10. He started 22nd, Rick DeBrule.
And he is happy with his car. Just check with the crew. They made a few minor adjustments with the car. I asked, what has Townsend been saying about the car? He said, not much. He likes the way this is driving. And when you move from 22nd into the top 10, it works. Vince?
Well, and just ahead of Townsend Bell in that green car, the green GoDaddy, is James Hinchcliffe. As Bell takes a look on the outside of Hinchcliffe as they enter turn 1. Hinchcliffe, they've just not been able to find the sweet spot leading up to this race, and they haven't found it yet today either. They added a little downforce on that first stop. Hinch didn't feel like it helped him the way he had hoped it would.
I don't look confident looking at his line, Scott. Every time he comes out, he changes line and he's moving it by 2 or 3 feet. He's come out incredibly high out of one more than once, and he's not that close behind the car that's in front of him.
And that's because every time he gets close to those cars in front, the car becomes more nervous. And as you mentioned the sweet spot, that's something the driver's looking for. It gives you the comfort to really maneuver the car anywhere you want. He certainly doesn't have that now.
Everybody is avoiding passing cars right in that last 100 yards. It's like they figured out a rhythm.
Let's talk a little bit about Tony Kanaan, because he injured his hand back at Long Beach in a crash, and it's going to be one of those injuries that's going to take time, and it's his thumb actually on his right hand. How difficult is it when you have something like that to drive 500 miles?
It's always difficult if everything in your body isn't working properly, but he is so busy right now. In every interview we have seen, he has told us, I have led this place 8 years in a row, and he really wants it badly. So I think you could probably get in there with a pair of pliers and cut his thumb off, and he wouldn't even notice right now. He might complain afterwards, but he's a pretty tough dude.
Well, he did lead earlier in the race, so he's now led in 9 Indianapolis 500s in the 12 that he has entered. Led a total of 10 laps so far. We've had a total of 6 leaders. And Kanaan right now running in 3rd.
There's a lot of wisdom in Kanaan's car. He's done a lot of these races.
So Ed Carpenter continues to lead. Now he has led the most laps, 35. Remember we talked about it last year. It didn't help. Marco Andretti, our telecast presented by GoDaddy. Friend Elio Castroneves on the all-time list. But this race is not yet finished, and here comes Will Power. All of a sudden, the Verizon machine coming to life.
I think he's got the best car in this field stint right now, wouldn't you say, Scott? I mean, he seems like he can keep the lowest line. Got a lot of distance between him and the wall.
And as we mentioned, the top 8, now 9 positions are all Chevrolets. And if you want to enter for a chance to win the new 2013 Traverse and a trip for 2 to the 2014 Indy 500, visit winyourchevy.com now to enter. And while I'm doing that, we get another lead change. Will Power moves to the throne.
For a guy that grew up on road courses, has not had that much success on ovals, has won 1 oval race in Dallas, Texas, he will admit to you that he is not very comfortable on road courses.
34 lead changes last year, 24 so far today, and we have only completed 75 of 200 laps.
There will be more.
Another car on the move. Ed Carpenter is going the wrong direction. Here comes Carlos Munoz. And A.J. Allmendinger in the mix in that number 2 right in front. There he is.
A few laps ago, Allmendinger got past his teammate Elio Castroneves, and now he just seems to be marching forward. Whatever he had as far as nervousness was considered in the car. Remember, Eddie, there's cockpit adjustments inside there with your roll bars and your weight jackers. You can change the handling of your race car by the adjustments inside the car to make it be better, and he looks like he's done that.
And you know that when they set these cars up for the race, they can't get it right throughout the whole race, so you have to like guess what the track is going to be. And I would say the track is going towards the Penske cars right now because they're both going forward. All 3 of them are going forward.
Well, Jamie, he just got around Ed Carpenter. Let's talk about A.J.
A.J. Allmendinger is hanging in there, having problems earlier. He said he felt like he lost 5th gear, but Roger Penske on the radio coaching his driver for his first time around the Indy 500 here, working his way forward. Now they've already pitted 3 times today to get this balance just right for A.J., and he is going forward, Marty.
There they are right now, running 1st, 6th, and 9th, with Elio Castroneves, of course, looking for victory number 4 here at Indy. Coming down into turn number 3, holding station up front. This is about the most strung out we've seen the race so far today, guys.
Well, consistently turning laps just shy of 220 miles an hour average, so probably about 226 going into the turns. Still a very fast clip right now for these drivers.
And the wind, Scott, has dropped a little bit, so it looks like it's not having that big of an effect on the track as it did before.
Right along with our leader.
Full throttle. He didn't lift anything. That's why he's in the lead. Again, full throttle.
Well, by our calculation, we're about 10 laps away from pit stops. So we'll step aside right now and come back as we get ready as we're working lap 80. You saw James Hinchcliffe trying to take a peek underneath the 22 of Oral Serbia, and it's going to cost him because here comes Simon Pagenaud in that blue and white car as he gets around, and he's going to lose 2 spots as Townsend Bell goes around as well. And that is all back in 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th positions. Up front, it is Will Power. looking for his best run ever here at the Indianapolis 500. In second place, Tony Kanaan, of course, his good friend Helio Castroneves has won it 3 times. He's led this race 9 different times in the 12 races he's been in, but has never won, and you can see his best finish back in '04 in second place. Ryan Hunter-Reay looking for his first win as well, but Marco Andretti right behind his teammate, about to be passed by the man who is on the move, A.J. Allmendinger. He has not been in an open wheel car for 7 years. So as he gets around Andretti, let's get an update on Marco's situation. This is the deepest we have seen him, Jamie Little.
Yes, and surprisingly, he's staying calm on the radio, talking to Kyle Moyer, his strategist, and saying, hey, we're losing too many spots too fast here. Let's do a front wing adjustment on the next stop. But we're hearing and seeing a different Marco Andretti this year, Marty.
He was very emphatic about that. He says, I've learned a lot about what I need to do differently to win this race. And so far, he has not put his car at risk. And we've seen him do that before. Checking in on Helio Castroneves. He is currently running in the 7th position behind E.J. Vizo and in front of Carlos Munoz. Of course, one of 2 looking for that elusive 4th victory.
I don't think he's in difficulty. I think he might not be as well balanced with the car as he was in the previous runs, but he's just sitting in there and doing laps.
And Munoz putting some pressure on him. Vince, what are you hearing about that 26?
They've been very happy with the race car and particularly pleased with the way this young racer has handled the job today. They have not made any changes to the car the first couple of stops, but they are going to give him a little front wing the next time they come through in about 5 or 6 laps from now.
And right behind those 2, as you see Munoz go low, he sticks it through and holds on to it.
And he goes low again when he comes back.
So he takes the position. And there you see Alex Tagliani in the blue car, and then right behind him in 10th position is Ed Carpenter. Jamie?
And Ed Carpenter, you mentioned falling back in 10th right now. He just told his team on the radio what he thinks is happening.
The car's just taking off a little bit out of 1 and 2 now. Back in more dirty air. Just a little light on downforce. We're back here.
Hang in there. Hang in there. Let's try to stick with these guys here.
Taking off means the front of the car is not gripping as much as it should. And he really came out of the throttle that time.
There you saw Tagliani. He is the front-running Honda machine in 10th, and we drop back to Dario Franchitti, and he has actually lost a spot since the restart. He restarted 16th. He dropped back to 17th right now, so the race not unfolding as he would want.
Not at this point, but he still has enough time to make some modifications. We've been hearing a lot of radio chatter of making front wing adjustments. What that means, I believe at this point, is the cars when they're in traffic are understeering. The front is not working as much as they'd wanted to.
Vince, you've got more?
Well, they did make a front wing adjustment on Franchitti's car that second pit stop because he was experiencing that understeer mid-corner. And Dario radioed in just a couple of laps ago and said now he just doesn't have the overall grip that he needs. So more changes coming for the TAM.
And changes coming up for everybody because we are now in the window because there is Tristan Vautier as he has made his stop under green.
We saw some front wing adjustments going on by the crew members at the end of that stop.
And it looks like our leader, Will Power, will peel off as he brings it down pit road. He last stop on lap 58, so a 30-lap run.
Those were some of the best laps I've seen Will Power do it here at Indy. Would you agree with that, Scott?
Absolutely.
Jamie Little?
And that last pit stop was the best he's had. It made the car the best. They actually made a front wing adjustment on the last stop, and that gained him 3 positions on pit road. So the team getting the job done so far today for Will Power, who got out in front. The car feels pretty good. They made the balance better. 4 tires. They'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel. Let's see if they decide to go to the front wing. Nope. Car is good. They hold it, make sure they're waiting on fuel. Tires are faster here in IndyCar. 10 seconds flat.
That is one happy Australian. Did not touch the car. All he did was put more fuel in it.
Let's send it to Vince Welch.
Tony Kanaan making his way in, and also Ryan Hunter-Reay right behind him. Kanaan has loved his race car all day long. Not a single change has been made, and they are not going to make any changes on this stop either. The balance has been excellent. Jimmy Vasser handling the strategy. Eric Cowden is engineer. They have been spot on today, and Kanaan a factor once again.
8.8 seconds. That's quick.
8.7 for Ryan Hunter-Reay. And you can see the 11 gets out just in front of Ryan. As these green flag pit stops continue, Connor Daly, and there's a report that there were some flames there momentarily. So a tough break for the rookie. He is 1 lap down right now, and everything is back to normal, and they'll send him back out. E.J. Vizo, he led for another lap. He's in. Jamie?
And he has had a bullet the month of May so far. All of his teammates envious of the power that he has. They're making half a turn of front wing to help the balance of this race car. But he too been pretty happy, just like the other Autosport drivers.
Scott Dixon also in and back out for service. Here is Carlos Munoz on the right side. Helio Castroneves right behind.
So what we're seeing is all the drivers that were in the back of the pack are the last ones that are fueling, Scott.
Yeah, because they're getting better fuel mileage, not having pushing that air.
Let's send it to Jamie Little again.
And Helio Castroneves making his way down. He's been very calm. The car has been consistent. 4 tires here. They'll fill it up with fuel. They're going to take their time and make sure they pack it full. Let's go to Vince with the 10.
Dario Franchitti making his way toward pit lane as you see Helio Castroneves finishing up his pit stop. Castroneves finishes up an 8.8. Franchitti coming on pit lane as well.
A number of cars taking advantage here on this lap as they had to come in under the green. We're working lap number 93. There is Simona Di Silvestro as she goes back out. We've had a total of 8 different leaders now. 27 lead changes, and the man back up front is Tony Kanaan. Ryan Hunter-Reay is in second. E.J. Vizo is shown in third.
You know, it's interesting, Marty, because Tony Kanaan, we know how good he is around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, how close he's come to winning this event, but was not one of the fast guys in practice and in qualifying. Qualified 12th, didn't lead the leader chart at any given day, didn't really count on him as maybe being a leader, but right now he seems to be comfortable being able to run up front.
Marco Andretti making a pass, picking off another position. Moving around Helio Castroneves into 5th. So the cycle of pit stops is complete. Tony Kanaan is your leader. We'll be back after a word from our ABC stations.
Scheduled green flag stops. James Hinchcliffe, the 27 GoDaddy car, makes the stop in his pit. Also gets a little more front wing to try and improve the handling after he'd slipped back a few spots. As he exits, fellow Canadian in the number 98, Alex Tagliani in the Barracuda racing car almost collide. It goes back to the point we made during our pre-race show this morning. Very tight conditions here, both on the front straightaway, which is only 50 feet wide, but even tougher and tighter conditions in pit lane when cars are exiting and entering pit lane. You want to have your crew chief in your ear telling you when the way is clear and it's time to go.
Back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Tony Kanaan is your race leader. Second place is A.J. Allmendinger. That's right, the rookie, his first time at the 500. As you see the stat on Tony, and look at A.J. take the lead. Jamie, what is going on with the 2 car? He looks like a rocket.
He has come alive. What happened basically with this car, aside from the gearing issues, he said they just had too much downforce earlier, so they've made some adjustments, freed that car up, and they're letting him drive. And look at him go to the front, Marty.
We are approaching the mid-race point. Let's show you what happened during break when he went from 4th to 2nd.
Gets a good run coming off of 4, a slipstream past Vizo and also Ryan Hunter-Reay. We've seen a lot of passes down in 1 today, Eddie, but pretty impressive when you can get 2 guys at the same time. So that means he timed it correctly coming out of 4.
Roger Penske knows how to pick his drivers, doesn't he?
Well, I also noticed that when he took the lead, there was a lot of people standing up here clapping along the front stretch where our booth is. So that's nice to see.
Did we add that he's an American?
And a very fast one.
One of 11 Americans in the race as we are now working lap number 100. Next time by, we will be halfway home in this year's Indianapolis 500. Ryan Hunter-Reay, the series champion, running in third. Right behind him is E.J. Viso and Marco Andretti, and Helio Castroneves just keeps lurking in that top 6.
He has a lot of experience, and he knows what to do to win this race. I think he has a car that will bring him up farther, but he doesn't have any need to do that yet, Scott, so he's just staying back there. He hasn't fallen back too far, and he hasn't tried to lead, which I find pretty amazing. I think towards, in this next 100 laps, you will see him start to move his way forward.
And we are now officially halfway. And that gives us a chance to take a look at the Mother's Race Rundown to get you caught up if you've tuned in a little late. J.R. Hildebrand brought out our first caution as he crashed on lap number 4.
Just running a little bit high. The right side wheels were up into the grade. No grip up there.
And our troops over in Kuwait, they were disappointed because he was running the National Guard colors. Then Andretti and Kanaan battling back and forth, swapping the lead between the two of them. They've led 31 laps. Takuma Sato spun it on lap number 57, stayed off the wall.
That's the Danny Sullivan move, except Danny kept it going.
And pole sitter Ed Carpenter on this most recent run fell back all the way to the 10th position. He's running 8th right now. So that gets you caught up on some of the things that have happened. And if you're wondering about Dario Franchitti, he is running in 19th. The other man that could win 4 Indy 500s. It has not been a very good day so far. He is 8 seconds behind the race lead.
They've had a few opportunities to make that car better, and they haven't got it right yet. The car that is really on a rampage right now is the Penske with Allmendinger, a rookie, obviously not a rookie in experience, but a rookie here, and he is doing everything that could be asked of him. And they had some problems, Scott, in the beginning, and they seem to have gotten past it. Our call earlier that they had a gear change problem was not correct.
Well, and those who may not know the story about A.J. Allmendinger, he was suspended last year after he failed a drug test over in NASCAR. He took the substance Adderall, went through the road to recovery program, came back, lost his NASCAR ride, but then he did get this opportunity, and he's talked about how this is his last chance.
I know this is my last opportunity. I know no matter what happens, whether it's here or NASCAR or whatever, that this is the last chance. I got my big mess up, and there's many people that don't get a second chance, and I've been given a second chance. So I've worked my butt off, and I'm doing everything I can. I'm ready to go. And as I said, if it's good enough, then great. If not, at least I can look at myself in the mirror and say, that's all I can do.
All he's doing right now is leading the 97th running of the Indianapolis 500.
A very popular driver and still hangs around the go-kart tracks and speaks to a lot of the young kids at different national events that I attend with my son Michael. It's interesting to see how a lot of karters love karting. They stay involved in it, but he's the guy that speaks to all the young karters and tells them what they need to do to move up through the ranks.
A great view from high above in the GoDaddy Helicam.
Not to be negative, but he sure is burning a lot of fuel right now.
You are the one guy I can always count on to be thinking about that oh so precious fuel. But you're right, he's out front. He's cutting a big chunk of air for everybody behind him.
But still doing laps at 219, 220 miles an hour.
So we're going to have to step aside for just a moment. You won't miss anything as we're working lap number 105 of 200. Our telecast presented by GoDaddy. Back here at the Indianapolis 500, you are looking at Indy rookie A.J. Allmendinger. He is leading the race right now, and he is our 9th different leader. We've had 29 lead changes. Now, of course, the last 7 years he's been running in NASCAR, and that brings us to Regan Smith as he looks to maintain his points lead over Sam Hornish Jr. when they visit the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Dover, it's presented by Grid 2. Our coverage begins Saturday, 2 Eastern on ESPN. A.J. Allmendinger followed by Tony Kanaan, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Marco Andretti, and Helio Castroneves has moved into 5th place. Jamie Little, let's go up to speed.
Well, one of the great stories today, Marty, is that we have 2 drivers going for a 4th win here at the Indianapolis 500. Helio Castroneves telling me that having Dario in that company makes him hungrier. He wants to be the first to get that 4th win. That would make him the youngest ever to do it at 38 years old. Vince?
The 98 of Alex Tagliani having a very solid day, currently running 7th. Remember, this team run by Brian Hurd and Steve Dewey won the Indianapolis 500 2 years ago with Dan Weldon at the wheel. Tags has been rock solid throughout the course of this day. Really likes his car. Now on the inside of Tagliani, you just saw Oriol Servia make the pass. Servia drives for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. This is their last race out of sponsorship. They put everything they have into today's event. If they're to continue on, they've got to win today. What a tall task for Servia and company. And then there's the rookie, Carlos Munoz, 21 years old, the youngest driver ever to start on the front row at Indianapolis, and he's having a solid day. There are a lot of veterans concerned about Munoz, but he's been rock solid today. Only one wing adjustment on that car all afternoon, Jamie.
And the 20 of Ed Carpenter led this field to green, led a lot early, but the car just started backing up, so they had too much downforce, which is why it's curious that they came down pit road and made a front wing adjustment. Meanwhile, the 2 of A.J. Allmendinger coming down pit road right now, having some issues. They're going to look at the right tire. They're saying, look at the tire. He thinks he may have a cut tire. As they count him down, he was our leader. Watch the team. Roger Penske on the wall to the right, standing there calling him, saying, we're going to get him. Hold it here, hold it here. Let's look at it. They're adjusting inside the race car. The guys upstairs in the booth can maybe elaborate on what they were doing inside there, guys.
I think reaching inside the cockpit there, I think his belts came loose because it looked like the crewmen reached inside, and it's a 6-way clasp inside there.
Marco Andretti is your race leader. Let's listen in on the radio that we just captured from AJ.
My belt just came undone.
So you were right, Scott. It was the belt that came undone.
And you can't drive around here driving up 3.5, 4 Gs in every turn, Eddie. But that tells you that he just caught part of his sleeve or something on the one quick clasp.
You can drive around here, but it might be the most stupid thing you've ever done in your life.
All right, he's gone a lap down. How critical is this? Does he have a chance with now past lap 113?
He's off strategy. If by some reason the strategy changes, he could find himself at an advantage. But right now, he's got a lot of driving to make up. He's got to get to the front of this group again. So if there's a yellow, he comes back to the end of it.
Well, you know, you were talking about not wanting to drive around here with loose belts. 1978 rookie year for Rick Mears. He forgot to tighten his helmet.
That might even be worse.
He kept it on, but he had to figure out a way to tie it back down. Meanwhile, let's get back to the action up front, because you can see it's Andretti, Kanaan, Ryan Hunter-Reay. They're running 1, 2, and 3.
And Castroneves is right behind him.
Allmendinger 24th now, just to let you know, and he is 1 lap down. The only car right now at
E.J. Viso swinging low underneath Helio Castroneves. That's going to be tight. Oh, gets it done.
Don't forget with JR, they put fuel in his car when he came in.
And he will
AJ,
get that opportunity. Yeah, AJ will get that opportunity if we get a caution to get back on the lead lap with the waiver round. So his race is far from over. And it's far from over for quite a few other cars. We have a total of 23 cars on the lead lap.
You know, with these new cars, guys, I think that this racing right now here at Indianapolis, we saw it last year, it reminds me almost like an NBA game. You want to stay close to about 2 minutes left to go, and the game changes so dramatically at that point in time. We saw that last year here with the Indianapolis 500. Just keep in contention, and it's going to change so much in the last 20, and the last 10, last 5 laps, even the last lap.
Well, in the last 3 years, the last lap, we have had drama. You do not want to leave, even though we still have quite a few laps to go. 84. Takuma Sato heading for pit road, we're being told. And there he is. Rick?
Takuma Sato brings the car in. Larry Foy has been on the radio talking with him calmly, trying to remind him, we're okay, you went down, but we're on the lead lap. That's all that matters. He was in 22nd when he came in. Just has to slowly but surely build back up to where he was.
3 wide as they come across the stripe. E.J. Viso down low. He is now the 2nd car in line.
A traffic jam.
Whew. That might be the world's fastest traffic jam.
If you're wondering the fastest race lap, A.J. Allmendinger back on lap 94, 2:25.9.
And Ed Carpenter is starting to fight his way back to the group again. He is now 6th. It's always very frustrating when you lead a race and you find yourself falling back. You have to completely change your mental attitude to turn it around and start weeding your way up again.
Well, and one of the things I found interesting about Ed, he says, I never try and script the race. I know it's a matter of always reacting.
He just passed another car on the outside.
So Carpenter right now trying to track down Carlos Munoz, put him in the 6th position. And here comes A.J. Allmendinger. Now remember, Allmendinger on fresh tires, but he is a lap down, running in the 23rd spot.
And he was very wise there that he did not keep pushing the issue because they were getting too late turning into the corner. So you would think that he would be nervous right now because he had that flap, but he's taking, whoa, how about Ed coming out of the corner?
Well, how would you like to be Michael Andretti right now? You've got E.J. Viso, Marco Andretti, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Carlos Munoz all together. The only one missing is James Hinchcliffe.
And you own all those cars, and if something happens to one, you go like a bowling alley and take a few of them out. But a lot of experience there, with the exception of Carlos Munoz.
And you can see where they're running, and we should give Michael Andretti some credit here. Remember a couple of years ago when he bought out his partners, he moved from Nazareth, Pennsylvania over to Indianapolis, is in the shop every day, has been, and it has been a slow progression, and here they are with 5 cars in the top 15. Vince, give us an update on Hinchcliffe, who's back at 15.
Yeah, you showed the success of all those other Andretti cars, and then Hinchcliffe sitting 15th, and they have struggled with the handling of the race car throughout the course of the afternoon. Wing adjustments and then added some downforce, and it just hasn't been to the liking of Hinch. And he says the straightaway speed isn't what it needs to be, and when he snugs up on the back end of a car trying to pass, the handling completely goes away. Very difficult.
Another lead swap at the front. You've got Marco Andretti going around Tony Kanaan. And Marco is going to come into pit road, so it won't officially count at the stripe because he'll surrender it before he gets the official click. And let's go to Vince.
Looking at the car of Tony Kanaan and that 11 machine, they have not touched it. Not a single adjustment has been made to the 11 all day. He's led laps. He's been at the front 9 times in his 12 years at Indianapolis, and he seems, although we're a long way away, like he's got a car that could contend again. Fuel and Firestone tires for the 11 of Tony Kanaan. It's been spot on in the pits, spot on in the track, and another clean spot. Jamie.
Another contender, the 25 Marco Andretti. No changes again. 4 tires. Good stop again for the 25 team.
And we're seeing about 31 laps on this cycle for everybody that has currently come into pit lane. There is Ryan Hunter-Reay. We've now had a total of 9 leaders. And let's check in with Vince.
He was the Rookie of the Year in 2008, and he felt like he was poised to win this race this year after winning the championship a year ago. Car's not been perfect. He experienced a little bit of a vibration on that last one. They had trouble getting the fuel hose in on that particular stop. Let's see if it takes them a tick longer. They are indeed. Let's go to Jamie.
E.J. Viso doing a great job today. No changes this time around on his car. 4 tires. Good stop for the 5 crew.
And Carlos Munoz led a lap here, so the rookie has led, and we've now had 34 official lead changes. So Munoz is going to be heading your way, Vince.
Carlos Munoz, 4 tires, and they're going to fill it up with fuel, and we documented how Munoz has come in here running his only IndyCar Series race ever. Up through the Indy lights, 4 tires and just a turn of front wing. Jamie?
They warned Helio Castroneves this is going to be a long stop. We want to pack it full all the way. Let's wait on the fuel as they count him down. How tough that would be for a driver. 3, 2, and he's cleared.
It's always fun trying to strategize with the captain. He is one of the masters at this. Packing it full with 77 to go. We'll talk more about that strategy. Now let's get to Alex Tagliani. He has been the best running Honda. Vince?
Alex Tagliani coming in, being reminded, please hit your marks. They are going to make a slight air pressure adjustment on this 98. By the way, the 98, it's the 50th anniversary of Parnelli Jones' win here at Indianapolis when he carried the 98 on his car. Oh, how big it would be if they could take it back to victory lane today. Tagliani very strong in that Honda power. Dario Franchitti, you see him pulling away his car as he described it on the radio. Terrible. They made significant wing adjustment, front and back wing adjustments on on that 10 car of Dario Franchitti.
Townsend Bell led a lap. Now he is coming in. Rick?
Well, Townsend Bell slowly but surely doing what he needs to do. He's been moving through the pack. The last time they checked with him, how was the car? His comment was simply good. Important to point out, he's got nobody on either side of him in the pits. Means he gets in cleanly and can get out cleanly. Interesting thing, very yellow car, just streaked with all kinds of black marks from tires all around it. Come on, Vince.
There's the 27 of James Hinchcliffe. We've talked all day about how they've been struggling with the handling of this car. Let's see if they can get it better after some slight adjustments. A quick stop, 8.9 for Hinch and the crew.
We have had 12 leaders, which ties the record. 37 lead changes, which has broken the record. And look at this action still going on at the front of this pack. Ryan Hunter-Reay, followed by Marco Andretti, Tony Kanaan, E.J. Viso, and Helio Castroneves. There is Marco coming back out, checks the mirrors. Our telecast presented by GoDaddy. 71 laps to go here at the Indianapolis 500. You're looking at the race leader, Marco Andretti. We have had 38 official lead changes at the stripe, a new all-time record, breaking last year's mark. And if we have one more leader, that'll break the record set in 1993. It's currently at 12, and that's exactly a third of this field has led this race today. Tonight on ESPN, it's a National League East battle on Sunday Night Baseball. Justin Upton leads the Braves against David Wright and the Mets. It's Atlanta versus New York. It's tonight at 8. It's on ESPN. It's also live on Watch ESPN. So all the drama that we thought would occur has occurred. There has been constant passing up front, as you saw from the GoDaddy Helicam. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay around his teammate to take the lead. And in third place, E.J. Viso with Tony Kanaan. Come down the front straightaway. Will we see another pass going into turn number 1? Looks like Marco is going to be content to just sit in second. Now, their teammate, James Hinchcliffe, he had a moment a couple of laps ago. He's running back in 18th, and he's lucky to be running at all.
Oh, he's way too high here.
As you see up in the gray, and he's been driving that car very hard, pushing into the turn past the limit of the car, almost hits the wall, comes over to the left, almost takes out his fellow Canadian, Alex Tagliani. You can see how high he is. He doesn't want to get off the gas because he knows he'll cost himself spots, but watch it, the steering wheel comes out from his hands.
Whew. And while we're doing that, E.J. Viso says, hey, fellas, I want to lead. He goes around Ryan Hunter-Reay.
He's been hanging out there all day. It was his turn, I guess, to go out in front.
All right, we showed you what happened to James Hinchcliffe. We told you he's running 18th. Vince, is his heart beating normal again?
Boy, I tell you what, they say this race can be the most fun if you've got a good car, and it can be the worst if you've got a bad car, and I think it's one of those worst type of experiences for Hinchcliffe today. He's not been happy from the get-go. They've made constant wing adjustments, still can't get it there, and you saw what a handful he has. You gotta take your hands off the wheel. That really is a handful.
I've never seen anybody do that coming out of 2 and still keep it running straight. Take your hands off at the car, figure it out. It's like riding a horse and letting it ride for a little bit and then jumping back on again.
Well, the horse that Marco is riding just moved into second place around Ryan Hunter-Reay, and he closes in on E.J. Viso. But it is Andretti Autosport running 1, 2, 3. Jamie Little.
Well, Marco Andretti has been calm on the radio all day until now. The team telling him don't fall back farther than third place, but they're having him watch fuel, and it's making him frustrated, especially because his teammate E.J. Viso is out in the lead.
Too early to worry about that, isn't it, Eddie?
It's too early to worry about it, but they are thinking, they're starting to count down. They're starting to think what happens if there's a yellow.
Well, and here's something we've been keeping track of this year, where the lead changes have taken place. Turn 1, 13 into turn 3, 6 down the main stretch, 6 the back stretch 1. So it looks like, if we're looking ahead to that last dash, it looks like turn 1's your best shot.
And I think that's a little function of the wind, because you have a headwind going into turn 1, so that means the car that's out in front is pushing more air than it generally would, allowing the car from behind, which is Marco Andretti right now, to get a good run from the car in front, pushing the wind and slingshotting out.
And let's remember, turn 1 is the first corner you get to on the restart on that final rush to the end.
Look at the right side of your screen, the 4th car. That is A.J. Allmendinger. Now remember, he has stayed out. He's about 9 laps off sequence here, Jamie Little.
Yes, he is. He came in at lap 112 because of his seatbelt coming loose, so they were able to fill it up and put tires on. So this last sequence, everybody else pitted, a change for the lead once again. Ryan Hunter-Reay to the point, but back to A.J. Allmendinger. So right now they're saying he's going to have to come in and pit around lap 142. He's in good position right now, sitting 5th. He's going to hope for a caution, Marty.
Well, A.J. Allmendinger's moved up to 3rd, Jamie. That's how quick he is right now on this racetrack. He has a very strong race car. If we get a yellow right here, he's definitely back in the mix.
He's definitely back in the mix, but the driver that's showing the most restraint and the most discipline of this group, I think, is Marco Andretti. Obviously, we heard that he was frustrated because he's falling behind, but he's starting to save his fuel.
There's one other guy that showed a lot of restraint as you look at Allmendinger going for 2nd. That is the man back in 6th, Helio Castroneves. He's the only one in the top 8 drivers that has not led a single lap today. So Helio just playing the patient game. He is cruising in 6th. Meanwhile, A.J. Allmendinger is saying, I got the pedal down, and here we come.
Now, the reason he has to get to the front, if there's a yellow, he's back again.
So A.J. Allmendinger comes back after a setback on pit road, and he is in front over Ryan Hunter-Reay, Marco Andretti, E.J. Vizo, and Tony Kanaan. Back here at the Indianapolis 500, A.J. Allmendinger in his first appearance ever here at the Speedway in an open wheel car is leading, but he has well, he's got 10 laps over the rest of the field. He pitted 29 laps ago. Ryan Hunter-Reay pitted 19 laps ago. So right now he might be hoping for a yellow, but he is running very strong out front. Back in 3rd place, it is second place, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and let's check in with Vince.
Well, Marty, they're exactly where they want to be in 2nd place. He wants to be in that spot for fuel efficiency, and Michael Andretti had communicated to him about letting Allmendinger lead.
Don't let anybody else by. Don't let anybody else by. Even if you have to use fuel, don't let anybody else by.
And really the reason for that is that he knows that Allmendinger has to come in for fuel shortly, which will then put Ryan Hunter-Reay into the lead. We're also hearing about some possible impending weather coming in. We don't know how far that is off, but certainly you want to stay up front as you get closer to the end of the race here.
Michael is having to take everything in.
Allmendinger's in.
So Allmendinger peels off, and he is right at 30 laps. So that's been the number today.
Fuel's ready. We're okay here.
Vince, it's yours.
That's A.J. Allmendinger you see coming to the pit lane, and Allmendinger been well documented his run to the IndyCar series after his time in NASCAR. They've been happy with his race car as he pulls it in. Roger Penske calling the shots for Allmendinger. 4 tire change as they always do in IndyCar. Jamie?
And Roger Penske saying on the radio for AJ, keep digging, we're good, we're right in the window. After this stop, they expect to have one more stop to make it to the end, so Roger Penske not sweating it at all.
Look at Marco, here he goes. Because Castroneves is right behind him.
And Helio Castroneves, who has not led today, now goes around both of them. And all of a sudden, here with 56 laps to go, Helio starts to flex his muscle.
But the 2 Andretti cars were told do not use fuel.
And they are trying to draft. You saw Helio dive towards the low side of the track.
Well, I think Michael's instructions to Ryan Hunter-Reay was don't let anybody past, even if you have to use fuel. They don't want to let anybody up front.
Let's go on board with Helio Castroneves as we'll get a look from his number 3 Team Penske car. Live streaming of in-car cameras on the IndyCar 13 mobile app. It's only from Verizon, and there goes Marco to the inside, so he's going to drop back.
But there's a back marker in front of them. There's not a worse place to be behind a car when you're turning into one.
Allmendinger, who had just had fuel and tires, is now back out. What he wants to try and do, although he's not going quick enough yet, looks like he probably might get passed by Marco, but if he can keep in front and the yellow was to come out, then he would get the pack around. He'd be able to come back to the tail end of the lead lap, but his job right now, stay in front if you can.
But this is great for Marco because somebody that's going to pull him around the track.
So Allmendinger trying to stretch it out. Marco Andretti trying to save fuel. Andretti leads this race. We've had 13 leaders now, a new record for most leaders, and we've already smashed the lead changes. We're up to 45 and counting. Our telecast presented by GoDaddy. Don't go anywhere. A record-setting day again here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We said we were going to write some history. Look at this. 13 leaders, a new record, and 45 lead changes, and we still have 50 laps to go. Marco Andretti up front. Jamie Little has more.
And the team looking at their fuel calculations just moments ago, they told Marco, we're going to turn you free. Go for it. Dig as deep as you can for the next few laps. He went right to the lead, and here he comes down pit road.
And that's exactly 30 laps since his last pit stop. So 30 seems to be the magic number for the Chevys. Jamie?
And Marco gets the countdown. This is what they're planning will be the last stop of the day. They want to make it count. His team has been getting the job done today. Now they're telling him, come into your box clean. No mistakes. This race can be won and lost on pit road, and today they've been flawless. 4 tires. They'll count them down, fill them up with Sunoco fuel, pack it to the end because they're going to be right on the mark. A clean stop once again for Marco Andretti.
I like the way this is playing out right now because if we are at 152, if you add 30 to that, we're at 182. That means the last 20 laps is going to be a flat-out power race without having to worry about fuel.
Ryan Hunter-Reay is peeled off and heading your way, Vince.
They've made some adjustments on this car throughout the course of the day, but right now he likes it. He says it's really comfortable. They reminded him to warm up the brakes before he came in, hit his marks perfectly. The fuel probe is in, tires being changed. A big stop for Ryan Hunter-Reay trying to stay up front here at the Indianapolis 500. They are down and away just over 10 seconds.
Sebastian Bourdais, Oriol Servia, several other cars, as you can see from that long view, have made their pit stops as well. The list includes Ryan Briscoe, Graham Rahal, and Simona Di Silvestro. And I see Ed Carpenter on pit road. There's EJ Vizo as well as they make their way. And Tony Kanaan. Vince?
For Tony Kanaan, it's been a perfect kind of day. Just the kind of car you want here at Indianapolis over the course of 500 miles. No changes on that car is all for Kanaan at all. And now you see Ed Carpenter in the box. Back to Kanaan again. No changes. A little trouble getting the pros out. Let's go to Jamie.
And Ed Carpenter started the day on the pole. They've been adjusting on this car, trying to get the balance better. This time around, 4 tires. All these teams stopping one more time.
Carlos Munoz has stayed out. It's been 30 laps since his, in fact, now 31 and counting. So the rookie. And EJ Vizo has stalled on pit road. And this is costly this late in the race.
We'll take him out of that lead group for certain as we watch Helio Castroneves come into the pits. Jamie Little.
And meanwhile, Helio Castroneves, he has been silent on the radio. That tells you how good this car is. He hasn't even started getting racy yet. Another clean stop here. 4 tires. They'll fill it up. Little slow on that right rear. You saw it cost him some time. Meanwhile, the 12 of Will Power is in. They were actually the ones slow. That's his teammate. Cost him a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Munoz is in.
So Carlos Munoz goes 32 laps. Vince?
Carlos Munoz had never done live pit stops before today's Indy 500. How difficult must that be? Slides it into the box, hits the marks perfectly. He's been spot on every time he's come to pit lane today. No trouble so far getting the tires on. A little bit slow on the right front, but it's a clean stop. 10.1 for Munoz. And there's the new leader, Scott Dixon.
14 different leaders, 48 lead changes. Scott Dixon now up front, and this is lap number 33 as he finally comes in. So he gets 3 extra laps. Whoa, and he's got to slow it down to 60. Vince?
They have made major changes to these race cars, both his and his teammate Dario Franchitti today. On their last pit stop, it was front wing and rear wing adjustments. Neither have been happy with the balance of their cars or the straightaway speed. So Dixon comes in. Franchitti is just behind Dixon. You see the 2 of them pitting side by side, dealing with significant struggles. Front wing adjustment for the 9 car of Dixon. He is away. A slower stop for Franchitti, and he comes through the box.
It has not been a good day for Dario Franchitti. Our leader right now is James Hinchcliffe. He peels off and he'll stop 32 laps. Vince, he's coming your way.
Boy, James Hinchcliffe, what a day he's had. You know, you guys talked about it earlier when he had to take his hands off the wheel. His car was so crazy. They've been dealing with it all afternoon, making significant changes. George Klotz handling the strategy between the engineering team on this 27 car and the driver himself. It has been a handful. Constantly trying to make those wing changes. Another wing change there you see in the front, and the fuel is in. Hinchcliffe is getting away. A nice, clean, and fast stop for Hinch.
And guess what? We've got another battle for the lead up front. It is Marco Andretti and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Andretti has the spot. So great work by all the pit crews. We have seen very, very few mistakes and nothing on the major side like we have in the past. The drama still continues to unfold. Back here at the Indianapolis 500, Ryan Hunter-Reay has led 15 laps. We have had 50 lead changes. Here's our GoDaddy lap leaders, and I can't name all those names. Over a third of the field has led this race. Look at this. This has been an incredible day at Indianapolis. Let's listen in on Ryan Hunter-Reay's radio.
Now we're going flat out the rest of the way. Drive as hard as you can.
100 miles to go, and Ryan Hunter-Reay gets the green light from Michael Andretti. And maybe we can show you the reason why. Look off on the west. That is about 45 minutes away, if it's timing out the way they're saying.
So the whole race has changed right now, Scott. There no longer is a question of trying to save fuel. Everybody's flat out. So I don't really think it's good to be 5th, 6th, and 7th. This leading group is made of 7 cars. You have to be in the first 3.
Connor Daly, who is lap traffic, he is trying to get out of everybody's way. He got high there for a moment. Now he holds position. That's that 41 car on the left side of your screen, and he gives way.
Very difficult to drive a race car looking in the mirrors when you got faster cars coming up behind you. But talking about most of the guys having to pit between laps 179 and 182. But the information that I have right now when I'm calculating this, the guy that has to pit at lap 170, 172, A.J. Allmendinger.
Running in the 8th position, Simon Pagenaud. How about it, Rick DeBrule?
Yeah, just talking with the team, they were saying they think everybody's got to make one more stop, and if that's the case, then they're right where they want to be. Simon Pagenaud has been quietly confident about this car all week. He called it awesome. He likes the way it runs in traffic. He slowly moved up to where he wants to be in the top 10.
Well, he is one of 3 French drivers in this race. And 100 years ago, a Frenchman won this race. A.J. Allmendinger has pulled into 2nd around Marco Andretti. But now remember, Allmendinger is going to have to stop at roughly 9 to 10 laps sooner than everybody else.
That's true, but the first 3 drivers leading the Indianapolis 500 after 165 laps are Americans.
Carlos Munoz, the rookie who has just dazzled everybody all month long. There he is. He runs in 4th. Did you think he would do this well?
I didn't, but I thought that if he got through the first pit stop, he'd be okay. Here we go for another lead change.
A.J. Allmendinger says, I want it, and he's taking it, and here comes Marco right behind.
And Marco just follows by. You've got to be really careful when you get past at the end of a straightaway like that, because you have to come off the throttle, and it is go time right now.
You saw Kanaan getting around Munoz, so put TK into 4th. Here comes Helio Castroneves. One of the 2 going for his 4th victory here at the 500. Castroneves, move him to 5th.
You can bet that he knows that it's getting close to the end. Everybody in the race right now can feel that that checkered flag is getting closer and closer, and they have to start to tighten up their game.
Okay, here is the freight train that Dario Franchitti has not been able to join. We're going to hold and show you where he is. He is in 17th, and that has been about where he has been the last 2 to 3 pit stops. He has not been able to move forward. He hasn't really dropped back. It doesn't look like it's going to be Dario's day.
I don't think it will be either. They haven't had the speed. They haven't been able to get the car right the way they wanted to. He would have to do a lot of passing to get to the front where Allmendinger is right now.
Now another guy that's trying to move back up and having a little bit of success is Takuma Sato. He has gotten into the top 10. Remember, he had a spin earlier in this race.
It takes a long time to recover from a spin like that. So I wouldn't say that's why he's been back there, but he's slowly chipping his way back.
And guess what? Marco Andretti wants the lead and goes around and takes it. So now we're up to 51 lead changes.
All that discussion we had about saving fuel, that's out the window. Right now, it's just go as fast as you can and rush to the end.
Our GoDaddy Helicam, great view as you see Ryan Hunter-Reay looking to the inside of A.J. Allmendinger, takes the spot. So Andretti opens up about a 4/10 of a second lead. Jamie Little, what are you hearing down there?
Yes, and as Marco Andretti continues to lead, the team is talking strategy.
You could use more fuel, but whatever you want to do, we're plenty good here. I just don't want to fall back.
So, of course, they're talking about use everything you've got. They've got a plan. They want to come in with about 20 to go, and they said they're going to trim it out.
This is going to be good.
So trim it out means they're going to take some downforce off the cars. Ryan Hunter-Reay goes around his teammate, Marco Andretti. Vince Welch?
You see the 98 of Alex Tagliani, and he actually brushed the wall, so they're going to make a quick look at that right rear and just make sure everything's okay. Now you see there is a bit of an issue. It's actually the second time he's brushed the wall today, and they're going to have to take a look at it. You can see that's not a good sign, Marty.
Yeah, and he's outside the window. He had pitted just 12 laps ago, so it doesn't look good. Townsend Bell is back on pit road.
And he's going slow. See his steering wheel, how bent that is? Oh, here's the reason why.
Oh, he just brushes it.
That was brilliant driving, though, catching it like that.
Let's go on board.
That's what we call a moment. Down by the white line, all good. A little twitch, which means the back end of the car is loose. Collects it the same way that James Hinchcliffe did. Going through the grass at that speed's not something you want to do, but a great recovery.
All right, Ryan Hunter-Reay had the lead. Here comes Marco again. Wow, what a race. This is so good right now. We're going to go side by side. Thank goodness we have it. You won't miss a thing. Andretti out at front in Indy. Marco Andretti back in the lead. You saw it on side by side. 57 lead changes. And the final lead change, you don't want to leave us, because look at this. In the last 3 years, 8 laps or less. And this one looks like it is going to be a shootout. You saw A.J. Allmendinger. He made his last stop. He had 27 laps to go. He can go the distance. Everybody will be able to go the distance. And this is what the fans want, isn't it?
And they've turned the fuel mixture to full power, Scott. They're not doing anything but trying to go as fast as they can.
Allmendinger has pitted. He's good to the end, as you mentioned, Marty. This group that we're looking at now, we expect about lap 180, give or take 1 or 2, will be in.
Takuma Sato has made his final stop. Let's send it to Rick.
Takuma Sato brings the car in once again. They had a blistered tire a little bit earlier that did cause him some problem, but he has come back well after that early spin, get him back in position, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to catch up to that lead pack.
A winner earlier this year for A.J. Foyt Racing. Right now, all the eyes are up front as here we go again.
Nobody can keep the lead for more than a lap and a half. These guys have changed lead twice in the last 3 laps.
And nothing is safe. I mean, you can do it before the stripe coming out of 4. You can dive into 1. You can do it in 3. We've seen them pass everywhere, Scott.
It's been amazing how these new cars changed the way that this game is played since last year. And all the teams have tried to find ways around it, but there's no chance you're not running away from a race no longer at the Indianapolis 500.
24 laps to go, and 20 cars are still on the lead lap.
But I think it's going to be down to 5 cars. It's these 5 cars we see in this group, and I would not count out Munoz.
Here comes Kanaan. 5 laps until we'll start seeing pit stops for these guys.
He's late on that pass.
Oh. Wow. Munoz into second. Andretti third. This rookie has been amazing.
But he's smart because he's now starting to move his way up. He wants to be at the head of the queue when it comes down to time for pit lane. Position's going to mean everything coming out of pit lane.
And you can't say he's driven like a rookie. He's done everything you could ask of him. He got his pit stops right. Now he feels at the end of the race, and he's up the ante. And Kanaan will have a hard time with him when he gets behind him.
And here comes the race leader is peeling off. So Tony Kanaan is going to come down pit road. Jerry.
Tony Kanaan isn't asked, do you want less downforce? Said, certainly, if it doesn't cost me any time, I've got to have the best stop of the day. He comes down, it'll be 4 tires. We're going to watch and see if they make a front wing adjustment. TK, the sentimental favorite, trying to win it here at Indy. Marty.
Jerry, unfortunately, Sebastian Bourdais slams the car into the wall and then slams the cowling with his fist.
Now, my question is there any debris on the track, Scott?
Jamie?
And Ed Carpenter is in the box, the pole sitter on the day. Worked on this car to get the balance better. It is great stop, 8.9.
And we are still green.
I'm looking at the flag stand, and he does not have a yellow flag in his hand.
So we're going to keep racing. The last yellow, we've only had 3 today, was back on lap 61. We have completed 179. Now working lap 180. All right, let's go back and show you what happened to Sebastian Bourdais. Second car.
Just locking up the brakes on the way in, crashes by himself. That's why he was so mad when we saw him pulling into his pit box. Brakes are just getting caught. In that situation, Eddie, you know that these are carbon fiber brakes. Sometimes you have to warm them up going down the backstretch.
Marco Andretti is on pit road for his final stop. Jamie?
Well, as I heard them say a while ago, they wanted to trim it out here for the final stop. Got to make this count. The team has made every pit stop count for him. They have been on it. Marco has been great. Only one time did he get frustrated on that radio today, and that's because they had to hold him back. He has run up front and led so many laps of this race. This is when it counts.
They're adjusting the rear
44 years
wing.
since an Andretti won this race. They trim it out on the rear wing, and he's down. Great job by the team. Claps all around, Marty.
That rear wing makes it a lot faster in the straightaway, and you have to get the balance right. But it will give you probably an extra mile or 2 per hour, which I think they're going to need if you're going to make passes on the last lap for the lead.
Now that is leader Carlos Munoz going around slower traffic. Ryan Hunter-Reay is in for his final stop. Vince?
Ryan Hunter-Reay and Marco Andretti had a discussion about whether or not they were going to put more downforce back in the car that they had taken out earlier. They decided not to do it. No changes, fuel is in, and a good clean stop for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
9.1 seconds, an excellent stop. And the rookie continues to amaze us as Munoz running out front. It's been 26 laps since his pit stop. And remember, he went longer than anybody else on the Andretti team on that last stint.
And you mentioned just, Marty, that these 3 yellows so far, but we've had an average race speed right now of 191 miles an hour.
Rick?
Simon Pagenaud once again quietly working his way forward. He was fastest on Fast Friday on Farm Day. He was fastest in the lap time today. They do a quick stop, no changes. He thinks at the end of this race he can win it when he's up close, and he is.
These last laps is the first time that we've seen anybody break away like that. Marco seems to have broken away from the group, but he has nobody to work with him out there in front.
Remember, Marco has already made his stop, so he is ahead of the actual race leader, Carlos Munoz, the rookie, with Helio Castroneves shown in second place right now.
But he just took downforce out of the car, so he will probably be doing, and we'll be looking at it, monitoring it, we'll be doing faster speeds than he was before.
Rick?
Well, Justin Wilson has had that kind of car that he was great going into the race, but they had a number of issues all the way through. But he's managed to move his way up. The problem is he's not where he wants to be. Vince?
Scott Dixon just pulling out of his pits after a final pit stop. It's not been the kind of day the 2008 winner hoped to have. Doesn't look like it's going to be a good day at all for the 9-10 team, the target cars of Chip Ganassi.
All right, so we're waiting for Carlos Munoz to make his stop. He's gone 29 laps. Helio Castroneves has gone 30. And there is Tony Kanaan right behind. And he is shown in, according to scoring, in 9th position, but second car on the track. So we're going to have to double check that. All right, here comes Munoz.
You got a clear pit all the way down.
You heard him. He's clear all the way, 60 miles an hour. Vince, he's heading your way.
Again, reminding him to get some temperature in his brakes. Remember, as we told you before, this is the first race he's ever done live pit stops, and he's been great in getting into the box each time perfectly. Not too close to the wall. They said they need one more good one from him. Overshoots his marks just a little bit. Fuel is in, the tires are going, and let's go to Jamie.
And Helio Castroneves has been very smooth and consistent today. They will take 1 degree of front wing up. There's the change right there. 4 tires. Meanwhile, Will Power in the 12 car ahead of him. They both say it's time to get racy, boys, and a little bit of contact on the exit of pit road, Marty.
Munoz gets out ahead of Helio with Will Power third in that line, and they'll come back out onto the track. It means that James Hinchcliffe has cycled through to take over the race lead. He is due for a pit stop. 63 lead changes now.
That's an insane number of lead changes.
Let's go back and show you the race off pit road again.
Carlos Munoz, the rookie on the right-hand side, does a little evasive maneuver as Helio Castroneves gasses it, tries to come out in front.
Another view head on.
I mean, as a driver, you leave the pit box here, the back end sliding around. You are just calculating where you can fit in, and Helio did a tremendous job not to take out Munoz.
James Hinchcliffe still your race leader, and Dario Franchitti is shown 1.9 seconds back in second, but he also has to pit. And both these guys, it doesn't look like it's going to be either one of their days.
We've talked about that. We felt that talking to both Dario and Scott this month, that they just didn't seem like the car was working that well. Wasn't in the track getting grip. It seemed to be on top of the track.
Well, they did look good on carburation day on Friday. Here comes Hinchcliffe peeling off for his final stop. Now remember, because he's been out there longer, they can make a quicker stop. They'll need less fuel.
So when all this filters through, Hunter Ray will be leading.
Vince?
Reminding him to hit his mark. So you talked about finding the sweet spot. They just haven't found it today. If they're going to have the car to get to the finish, something's got to change. And Hinchcliffe, he says the hardest part's getting to the end and not making any mistakes, but they haven't had the car to do it today. We'll see what they do in the final stint. Fuel probe is in, tires being put on, and Hinchcliffe making his last stop in the 27.
7.5 seconds, an excellent stop, and you saw on the right side it was Tony Kanaan getting around Ryan Hunter-Reay, but here comes Ryan trying to return the favor. Oh, and look behind him. 3 more cars going after it.
The track is getting narrower and narrower, and all that politeness we saw in the beginning is going out the window.
12 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Kanaan looks again, going into 3.
And Andretti is lurking right behind.
"11 years of frustration for Tony Kanaan. He's got the race lead. Don't know if he can hold on to it. But if he wins this race, you're going to hear a roar from this crowd."
Franchitti is in the highest position he's been, 7th.
Yeah, but he is getting passed by some cars as we speak. We're keeping our eye on those 3. That is first, second, and third, and it's about to change again.
And Munoz is right behind.
That's Ryan Hunter-Reay in the first car. Second car is Kanaan. Andretti there in the 3rd blue car, and then that 4th car is Carlos Munoz. Jerry?
Guys, 9 years ago, Tony Kanaan went to Methodist Hospital on the eve of the Indy 500 and gave a young girl his lucky medallion. She was having brain surgery the next day. Said, "You need some good luck." Yesterday, she overnighted that medallion back to Tony Kanaan. Said, "Now you need good luck. Take that medallion and go out and win the Indy 500. Tony has it with him in the car.
Tony's car is running really well. He did maybe 10 feet a lower line than Hunter-Reay did. He seems extremely confident.
Oh, and you can hear the crowd just yelling.
The problem is nobody can hold the lead for more than 2 laps.
I'm not sure I want to be leading Eddie on the last lap.
The thing I've noticed about TK, he can pass easily in either corner right now.
Here comes Marco. And he's not giving him room. And Kanaan's going to get hung out here.
Munoz on the right side of your screen. That yellow car, he goes around on the outside of Marco Andretti.
Everybody is starting to position their car in a defensive mode when somebody is trying to pass them. And it's going to get tighter and tighter with every lap that passes. And here goes Kanaan.
He's even doing it down the front straightaway. Who's going to lead at the stripe? Hunter Ray? No, Tony Kanaan, the official leader.
And Helio Castroneves is trying the outside and the inside to get around the car in front of him.
8 laps to go. Everybody is on their feet here at Indianapolis. 66 lead changes. Before this is over, we could double the record that we just set last year.
With this lap done, it'll be 7 laps to go.
But the question is, Eddie, do you want to be leading coming down for the white flag? It's going to be so tough.
Kanaan's going to lose it again.
Who's leading at the stripe, though?
Tony's wife, Lauren, looking on right now.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, the leader at the stripe that time.
Every time they get past turning into 1, they lose about 40 feet, 40 to 50 feet. Now, Kanaan's going to be attacked by Munoz going into 3.
I think Munoz has the fastest car right now because he seems to be able to place it where he wants to. The timing for a rookie, though, is going to be...
Whoa! Trouble back in the pack and contact into the wall. And we're going to have a caution as Graham Rahal has tagged the wall.
Yellow, turn 2.
Now we're going to see how this restart works.
Well, if we get that far, remember, Tony has lost a couple of 500s because of yellows.
Dad, I was trying. I lifted. The thing just got mid-corner and snapped huge. I'm sorry. Nothing I could...
You heard Graham. I tried to lift. He apologized. Here's what happened.
We've seen a lot of that today.
And you know, Eddie, when that happens, you're trying to catch the car. You get behind it on the steering. And then at over 200 miles an hour, you just become a passenger, which is exactly what happened to Graham Rahal.
His 6th Indianapolis 500, the 3rd time he has crashed out.
It starts here.
Smartly takes his hands off the wheel so he doesn't get a hand injury. And when we talk about a hand injury, think about Tony Kanaan right now running this race with torn ligaments in his left thumb.
Okay, let's go back to talking about what the right position to be in on this restart is.
I don't think you want to be leading. You know you're going to get passed down to turn 1.
Lauren, Tony Kanaan's wife, you can see her hands trembling.
So do you think 2nd is the right place to be in, or 3rd?
I'm almost thinking 3rd, depending on how the wind is punched for you with the cars in front.
Because you know when whoever is leading, when they're going down, they'll be defensive.
Well, Tony Kanaan a long time ago promised his son, if I ever win Indy, I just might retire. Is he still going to hold to that?
I lived in Brazil and I live here. And one of these very emotional conversations, he asked me, what am I missing until I can retire and go back to stay close to him? And I said, it's the Indy 500. And as a smart kid, he's 5 years old, he said, well, then as soon as you win, you come home, right? I guess I agree. So I kind of didn't say I would retire. I said I would go home. So I guess if I win, I'll catch a plane, go see him, and I'll catch a plane back to be racing in Detroit the following week.
And of course, he's referring to his son Leo right now, running in 2nd. Okay. In the last lead change, in the final 10 laps, 6 of the last 10 years, and I think we can guarantee it's going to happen again today. At least once, maybe more. Vince?
With Michael Andretti, and Michael visiting with his team of engineers as his drivers get ready to battle this one out. What a great job you've seen from the kid Munoz, but your guy, Ryan Hunter-Reay, in the top spot. Looks like it's going to be a shootout. What do you expect, and what kind of advice can you give your guys here?
It's going to be really crazy. I don't know what to say. You know, let me hold my breath for sure last couple laps.
The front we've seen is not the position to be in because you seem to be a sitting duck. Is it going to be a positioning and a battle maybe to position yourself for 2nd?
That's what it's going to come back down to. I think the guy to position himself for that last lap is the guy that's going to win.
Enough downforce or too much in the one car right now?
No, I think we're about right. I don't think we could trim any more, so I don't think so.
Jerry?
With Jimmy Vasser. Jimmy, does TK have enough left Off for the restart to hold on.
He's got everything he's had all day, and he's done a great job with the car. And, doesn't get any more. You hear the crowd; they're pulling for him. So we got the best guy for the job. We'll see what we got.
Tony Kanaan has got to be the sentimental favorite. Everyone knows how much he has sacrificed to be here now in his 12th try. He has come so close. He may have a shot to finally win it today.
Passes for the lead today. Turn 1, 20 of them. 13 on the front stretch. Oh, wow, is this going to be good? The top 5, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Carlos Munoz, Andretti, and Justin Wilson. Yes, he's in the top 5. None of them have ever won at Indianapolis. Let's listen to Tony's radio.
Well, boys, I'm going to go for it. It's going to be all or nothing.
Copy that, big guy.
So on the restart, does Kanaan and Ryan Hunter-Reay get into it, giving an advantage coming out of 2 down the backstretch to Carlos Munoz, when he might be able to get a slipstream going into 3, and then a rookie's leading? This is going to be great, guys.
2 last lap passes for the win in 96 Indy 500s, both in the last 7 years. Sam Hornish and Dan Weldon. All right, we are going to set the stage for you, and then we're going to let you just enjoy it, because this is going to be really something. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Carlos Munoz, that's your top 3. Then it is Marco Andretti, Justin Wilson, and don't count out Helio Castroneves. He is running in 6th with A.J. Allmendinger 7th. Sit back if you can. We're on the edge of our seats. Here we go.
And look who's second. Munoz.
Look who's first. Tony Kanaan. Contact yellow is out. And it is Dario Franchitti.
Yellow, turn 1.
And this one may not get cleaned up in time. Look at Lauren. She knows it. It may be over.
Why isn't Kanaan lifting?
I don't think he knows yet.
He better know.
Car, buddy. Look for the pace car.
Yeah, they told him.
Yellow, yellow. We got 2 laps to go, and Tony Kanaan is leading. Back it up, buddy. Back it up. Slow it down.
Absolutely amazing for Tony Kanaan as he makes the move, and you heard him say it's going to be all or nothing, and he gave it his all. I don't know if he knew that there was going to be problems behind him, but in his 12th attempt at Indianapolis, where he has led 9 different races, all he has to do is follow the pace car for the milk.
And they never touched his car the whole race.
Remember, I mentioned he was not fast during practice or really even qualifying. He sort of had a quiet month. So we see everybody standing up. Isn't that so cool?
He's having flashes of memories going through his head now when he was racing go-karts and how many accidents he's had. It's so great to see this.
Let's listen to the crowd as it comes around 4. The white flag and the yellow display.
White flag this time, 5. Let's try to break a record under yellow with this yellow map. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
At the beginning of our broadcast, we talked about the friendship between Tony Kanaan and Helio Castroneves, and Tony said he's got 3, I don't have any. He's about a half a lap away from having his first. Let's go back and show you what happened on the restart.
We talked about Ryan Hunter-Reay, the leader. Whoever that is a sitting duck. One car goes low, one car goes high.
And there was no way he was going to give up that corner.
What also is amazing, the rookie Carlos Munoz is going to finish second in an outstanding performance. Ryan Hunter-Reay will come across the line in third.
You think he was drying out his eyes there, Scott?
Absolutely. Raising his visor. Probably just trying to get the tears out of his eyes so he can stay on the track, see where he's going.
This whole place is standing up.
Let's cross this finish line first.
Yeah, 10-4, buddy, 10-4. Let's cross the finish line first.
Wife Lauren, as he makes the turn out of turn 4. After years of frustration, the satisfaction of knowing his name will go on the Borg Warner Trophy, the winner.
It was something Zanzibardi medal after all, man. I love you, brother. Great job. You're now a winner of the Indianapolis 500, my friend. Great job, Tony.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Eric, it's ours, man. It came a long time. Thank you.
An absolutely unbelievable race today. As let's hear from the happy wife. How about it, Jerry?
Lauren, he did it. He did it. His dream came true.
He did. Oh man, Tony is so humbled by this place every time. I know he's going to be so grateful for this day for the rest of his life. These guys, Eric and Matt and Jeff and all these 11 guys have been behind him for this for so long. This is such a huge team victory.
Lauren Cannon said he dreamed about it. He prayed about it. And last night he saw it. It was going to happen. And you heard him on the radio, I'm going to win it or else. And he did it.
You could see the agony in the eyes of Michael Andretti. He brought 5 cars here. They finished second. They finished third. They finished fourth. But they missed that all-elusive #1 spot.
Yes, they did. They had an almost perfect month.
The quest for 4 will have to wait another year for Helio Castroneves, who finishes 6th. And, of course, for Dario Franchitti, who is unofficially listed as 23rd. Let's talk to Jimmy Vasser. How about it, Doc?
Jimmy, you told me he had what he had all day long. And then on the radio, he said, it's win or else. And he won it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's just awesome in those situations. He was great all day. All credit to the team, all the people that come on board to make this happen. Hydroxycut, Mauser, all the sponsors. And Alex Zanardi brought us a little luck today. He gave us, I don't know if any you know, but he gave us his gold medal from London, and he said, rub this all over the car. It's brilliant. It has special powers. And Tony took the medal in his motorhome for an hour, and I can't believe it. Indy 500, awesome.
Hey, go to victory lane. I think this guy's going to be crying.
There you go. Thanks.
Jimmy Vasser, guys.
He mentioned Alex Zanardi. Of course, Zanardi lost his legs in a crash. There he is in the foreground. That's Max Pappas sitting right alongside of him. Zanardi lost both his legs in a crash over in Germany back in 2001. Has gone on to win 2 gold medals in the Paralympics. He has been an inspiration to everybody. Look at Pappas. They're both as emotional as Cannon is going to be.
They're all very close friends. It is the emotion in this circuit right now is unbelievable.
You know, I think of Tony telling the story that when his father was dying at a very young age, he said to him on his deathbed, he says, keep racing, take care of your family. And that has stuck with Tony all through his life.
And he did that with a really bad thumb today, didn't he?
I don't think he's feeling any pain in that thumb.
No. That thumb probably feels good right now.
He makes the turn towards victory lane.
Great champion. They will be celebrating in Brazil tonight.
The 38-year-old from Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. He may not be able to see victory lane for the tears in his eyes. We had a total of 68 lead changes. We doubled the record that we set last year, and he made the last one stick.
Yes, he did, and he did it with a Chevy engine.
In fact, Chevy takes the top 4 spots. It's Justin Wilson in 5th, the top Honda. Well, he's made it to victory lane. We're going to sit back and let you soak it all in as we are as well.
You should see the emotion breaking out right now.
Tony Kanaan is celebrating a long-awaited victory at Indianapolis. The Borg Warner wreath placed around his neck. A congratulatory kiss from his wife Lauren and the bottle of milk. He has waited so long to taste the milk at Indianapolis. Tony, it's been 12 years. You've waited so long. You've been so close. What made the difference today?
I got a little bit of luck today. And again, it's for the fans. It's for my dad that's not here. And but mainly for all of you guys. I mean, I was looking at the stands and it was unbelievable. So, man, I can't believe it.
You got a good luck medal returned to you that you had given away 9 years ago to a young lady that was ill. You got a visit from Alex Zanardi this weekend.
It's right here.
You got the medal that the young lady gave you. There it is, 9 years ago, and it was returned to you for good luck today. And your friend Alex Zanardi gave you a little good luck medal as well. It all played out for you, but you earned it in the car today.
Thank you very much. I'm speechless. I think, Vince, I want to thank everybody in the booth. I mean, I've never seen so many people, even from the other teams. You know, this is it, man. I made it. Finally, I'm going to put my ugly face in that trophy.
You told me yesterday that some drivers make their name at Indianapolis for winning. You had made your name because you hadn't won. Today, you're the winner, and you will forever be known as Tony Kanaan, Indianapolis 500 champion.
I guess we did both. We were known for not winning, and now we are for winning. So, man, I don't know what to say. But
what went through your mind when the yellow came out and you knew that you were going to be the winner?
I couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, how many laps to go? How many laps to go? And there was 2 to go. So I said, that's it. I guess and I have to say, the last lap was the longest lap of my life. And I wanted the pace car to hurry up so bad, but I've enjoyed it. And again, we did it.
You said you win the Indy 500, you're going to go home and see your boy. You going to make that trip here soon?
I hope so, man. I think I'm going to get so busy, but he's at home. He knows I promised him a trophy. And it's a good one.
You're bringing it home, my friend. Tony Kanaan has won the 97th running of the Indianapolis 500.
"33 orchids, 33 checkered flags in that wreath." As he will cherish that as much as you cherish yours, Eddie.
Yes, I'm so enjoying this right now. Every go-kart lap he has ridden, every race he has raced has been aimed towards this Indy 500 win, and he said it best. I won it. I'm here.
Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Carlos Munoz brings it home, second, first ever IndyCar race, let alone the Indianapolis 500. How were you guys so flawless today?
Man, I'm feeling a little bit sad right now. I should be happy, but I think I had a shot to win this thing. Man, I think I did a great job. I have nothing to be ashamed of. My team just did a great job in the pit stop. The car was so great from the first lap to the last lap. I was really patient. If they overtake me, I was going by one. My first few pit stop was not so great, but then the last 2 were great. And I have to be good. Let's see what my future prepared now on. Maybe next year, if I will win it.
Juan Pablo Montoya, I'm sure watching on 2000 winner here. We saw you get out of your race car and the emotion. What was going through your mind?
I was more sad because from didn't have a shot to overtake or to fight for the win than for the second place. Man, a thing called Colombia was watching me. I couldn't do anything to win. And it's all respects now. I know how it feels to 500. All respects to Juan Pablo. Man, this race is really difficult, and I have to thank again all my sponsor, Electric, Colombia, my family is here, and all the support. All the Colombians have been here.
Great job, Carlos Munoz. I have a feeling we're going to see him back here quite a few more times, Marty.
age 21, a young rookie, and he's disappointed with second place. All right, we're going to be back with a lot more here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look at the joy inside the cockpit of our champion for 2013, TK, Tony Kanaan. Back here at Indianapolis, where Tony Kanaan, after 12 years of struggle, strife, and disappointment. And here is Dario Franchitti, and you can tell he is okay after tagging the wall. And they share a very warm moment. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Oh, and what a great embrace it was with his dear friend Alex Zanardi as well. And we told the story about how you gave Tony the gold medal, and it was for luck. Told him, rub it on the car. I guess he rubbed it a little bit on that car and a little bit on his hands and everything else. What was it like for you to be here to see Tony, your dear friend, win the Indianapolis 500?
I tell you, I'm starting to think that it really works. I'm gonna make it profitable. I'm gonna put it up for sale. But no, besides kidding, I mean, it's fantastic. It's a dream come true to see Tony win, but more than everything, to see him win with Jimmy Vasser as a teammate, my dear friend Jimmy. And I was watching the race, the entire race with Max here, and we kept, you know, hitting each other, and we couldn't believe that it was going to happen. I'm so happy, so happy.
Max Pappas with Alex Zanardi, tears of joy for their dear friend Tony Kanaan.
And down here with Helio Castroneves at the top of the show, we told everyone watching, Helio, that you and TK shared a special relationship as youngsters growing up, a brotherly love when you were just 8, 9, 10 years old racing go-karts. He was so happy when you won 3 times, and he said if you can't win a 4th, how do you feel about him getting his first?
I'm very happy. Well deserved for him, well deserved for his team. Tony, hell of a job, man. Certainly it is a tough one, and I can see that you have fought as hard as you could, and well deserved. I'm happy for you. We talk about it. I would be very happy. Hopefully we can have now I can have the championship, so now we balance it out. But to your mom, to your sister, obviously, I know they're for so long, so I'm very happy. And good job, and hopefully it's going to be a busy week, buddy. Busy week. Get ready.
What a special, special day for Tony Kanaan. And we told you that it was 9 years ago at this race, and Tony Kanaan was an IndyCar champion. He was winning races. He had so much good luck, and someone told him about a little girl, Andrea Brown. He was in the hospital at Methodist and getting ready to have aneurysm surgery on her brain. It was going to be touch and go and iffy. Tony went down there, went to the bedside, gave the young lady his good luck medal and said, here, you take this. This will help you get through it. And sure enough, the next day, the surgery came and she was fine. Now she is 24 years old. And 2 days ago, knowing that Tony Kanaan, her favorite race car driver, was struggling and still chasing a dream, she overnighted the medal. It came to the racetrack, and they went to the garage and presented it to Tony, who began to cry. The note with the medal said this: here's your good luck charm back. Now you take it and win the Indianapolis 500. And indeed, that's exactly what he did today. A good luck charm comes home.
And there it is, coming right out of his pocket. And he had it with him for all 500 miles. Still more to come here. As you can see, the celebration continues at Indianapolis. Back here at Indianapolis, the celebration continues. 3 generations of the Andrettis have tried to win this race for a second time in 44 years. It did not happen today, but look at this. Michael, Mario, Marco, all take a moment to congratulate Tony Kanaan.
Mario Andretti, of course, the grandfather of Marco. The emotions here, it's been 44 years since your win here. We thought maybe that streak would end. What were the emotions as he led? And then, of course, he ended up 4th.
Well, riveting from the beginning to end, obviously. And coming down to the end and know that you're in a play, you know, and then there's things that are out of your control. So, but, you know, it was just a phenomenal race. The team just was up there fighting all day. And, you know, if it would have gone, who knows, to the checker, you would have seen, who knows, maybe a different result. But, seemed like, you know, it's a popular win for Tony Kanaan. He was strong there all day. So congratulations to him. And, you know, Marco has a lot of years ahead of him, God willing. So we have a lot of fight in us.
And the fight right now, you guys are the point leaders, so it's to be continued, Marty.
You can be guaranteed that they will be back. Let's show you some of the records that we set today. Most leaders, 14. Lead changes, we doubled last year, and the average speed, 187.4. We only had 5 cautions.